Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for filling the room. I think we might need a bigger room in the future, but this is very nice to see. So welcome to our regular board meeting for the Lake County Board of Supervisors. Today is Tuesday, May 7th, and we will begin with a moment of silence. Who has a moment of silence?
I do.
Please.
And so last week, I think it was Sunday or Monday morning, we lost a young lady from the Elam tribe. Her name was Elisa Reyes, and she was in a car accident, taken away too soon, leaves behind some children, really renowned in the Native American community, and also was working on healing, sobriety, and was working with a lot of people. And so she'll be heavily missed, and we give all of our deepest condolences to her family.
Thank you very much. I also have a moment of silence for Larry Robinson. Met him in 2008 when I went to Yuba College. He made me think differently, and that was very appreciated. One of the kindest, gentlest persons that I've ever met in the area of Lake County. He was a deacon at Praises of Zion. He had 23 years of sobriety and was helping to change other people's lives as well. Some of you may have met him by shopping at Walmart. He was very well known for having one of the friendliest faces that you can see, always had a smile. He took life with great stride, and unfortunately we lost him last week, and has left a very wide hole in our community in the area of Clear Lake, and to all of those who knew him, his friends and his family, and hope to have him in our thoughts and prayers today. Supervisor Simon, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Yes. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next item is our consideration of extra items not appearing on the posted agenda. Are there any extra items?
Yes.
Vice Chair, please.
Yes, I'd like to add to 6.3 an item B to ensure we have a policy in order to fly the flag that we will be considering for the missing and murdered Indigenous women and people.
Okay. And we're looking for any comments regarding the addition of the extra item. No comments from board members. Open it up for the public. Anyone wish to speak on the addition of this item? All right, and because this came after the posting of the agenda and action needs to be taken prior to the next agenda, that would be the reason given, and looking for a motion. Please, County Council.
Chair Sabate, if your board wishes to do so, to add to that an explanation of the immediate action that came to the attention of the county after the agenda was posted, so the immediacy of that would be taken into account as well.
Yes, I believe we just learned the flag is available about 15 minutes ago, so it's appreciated, and looking forward to the action of adding that as an extra item.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have anywhere where there's empty chairs where we can get some of the folks over here next to the door to come and sit down? I just want to make sure that we clear the doorway if possible. It's a friendly room. If there's a seat available, you'll be next to good folks. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, and no further extra items from staff or board members. All right, now the approval of the consent agenda. I do have that we will be pulling items 5.20 for clarification and 523 for a further agenda in the future. Are there any other items to be pulled from the consent agenda?
I don't see the constituent asked, but just as a placeholder, 5.12, in case we do have any constituent input on that.
Okay. Any other items from the board to pull? Seeing none, anyone from the public wish to pull any items from the consent agenda? All right, bringing it back to the board for action, minus those three.
So, Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve consent agenda items 5.1 through 5.11, 5.13 through 5.19, 5.21, 5.22, 5.24, and 5.25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and we'll take care of those items later on in our meeting. We're going to move on to public input, or 9:02 a.m. Anyone wish to speak to the Board of Supervisors and express themselves on any items not on our agenda today? I see no one here in the room, and I apologize, I did not check with Johanna for Zoom on the prior. There were no hands at that point in time and no hands today. We're going to go back. We have a public comment.
Good morning, Board. Thank you. My name is Angela DePalma-Dow. I am staff in Water Resources. I wanted to put it on your attention that we're going to be submitting an item to the May 21st Board of Supervisors meeting for a presentation of the Clear Lake Hitch Conservation Strategy from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And I wanted to raise this to your attention because the document is posted on our website at the Clear Lake, on the Clear Lake Hitch tab. And so I wanted to make sure that that was available for the board's awareness and also the public's in preparation for discussion review of that document on May 21st.
Thank you very much for your comment.
I have one.
Please.
So the Risk Reduction Authority is holding a virtual town hall on Mediterranean oak borer this Thursday night at 6 o'clock. The Zoom details will be posted on the county's Facebook page along with several other Facebook pages. Mediterranean oak borer is an invasive species that has come over from Europe and over the last couple of years has spread over the entire county. So we have Dr. Michael Jones, who works with the UC Extension, is our forestry advisor, and an entomologist will be talking about Mediterranean oak borer and how we can help to reduce moving it around. So I hope everyone can join us for the virtual town hall or catch the video, which will be posted on the Risk Reduction Authority's YouTube channel later on.
Thank you for that. I see no further public comments. I do see that there are 2 seats up front. I know one of them says reserved. Please utilize that chair, and the other one looks a little bit more formal than your other chairs, but that still means you can use it. So please get yourselves comfortable so we can try to be as comfortable as possible. Let's go ahead and move on to our next item, 9:04 a.m. item. This is Part A, Presentation of Proclamation designated May 2024 as Lake County Month of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and People. And we have Supervisor Simon and Vice Chair Crandall.
Head of the week. Head of the week.
I'm so sorry. I do that all the time, and I apologize. Pet of the week is first. Sorry, everybody.
Good thing he's not a barker or wild.
Alrighty, good morning, everybody. I'm Officer Murray. Today, we have with me a 1-year-old Australian cattle dog mix. His name is Tucker. When we first got Tucker as a stray, he was very ill and he tested positive for parvo. But as you can see, he is recovered and thriving. He does really well with other animals. He loves kids. For his age, he has a very calm mentality. So I really do think he'd be a perfect fit in a not so active lifestyle or an active lifestyle. So if you'd like to come down and meet him personally and spend some time with him or any of our other animals at the shelter, our address is 4949 Hellbush Drive, and our phone number is 707-263-0278. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was the right room for that. All right, my apologies for being disorganized. Our next item is presentation of proclamation designating May 2024 as Lake County Month of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and People. Vice Chair Crandall and Supervisor Simon.
Get everyone to come on up. Who's here for this proclamation, please come on up front. Squeeze in. Make sure you kind of push all the way through it.
Yes, I'll get to that when we get to the discussion. But yes, not forgotten. After all that.
Kind of push all the way. We're going to fill the whole thing, I think. Here. Oh, you guys are standing out there? I didn't even see you guys there. I was looking. Okay. We can fit more up here too if you want to come on up. Come on. Okay. Thank you for everyone coming up. Proclamation designating May 2024 as Lake County Month of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and People. According to the National Crime Justice Training Center, missing and murdered Native women are 2.5 times more likely to experience violent crimes and 2 times more likely to experience rape and sexual assault crimes in their lifetime, and make up 40% of the victims of sex trafficking and experience rape at the rate of 1 in every 3. And whereas according to the Centers of Disease Control, American Indian Alaska Native men are 2.5 times more likely to experience violent crimes, and 45.3% experience rape, physical violence, and or taken or stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetime. Whereas according to the Centers for Disease and Control, more than 4/5 of American Indian Alaska Natives, men and women, have already experienced violence in their lifetime, and homicide is the 3rd leading cause of death among 1 to 19-year-olds, and the 4th leading cause of death among males 20 to 44 years old, and the 6th leading causes of death for women 20 to 44 years old. And whereas the National Crime Information Center missing and unidentified person statistics from 2022 accounted for 5,487 indigenous missing persons incidents, 4,251 of those under the age of 20. 1,236 over the age of 21, and at the end of 2022, 1,593 of the cases were still open and unsolved. Whereas in 2020, Savannah's Act and the Not Invisible Act were signed into federal law to address the lack of this, or the lack to date, to improve law enforcement coordination to address the number of missing and murdered indigenous women and people. Whereas the area known as Lake County has been developed upon the ancestral homelands of the indigenous peoples who have continuously inhabited, utilized, and stewarded the land since time immemorial, and is also the home of 7 federally recognized tribes: Big Valley Band of Pomo Indians, Elam Indian Colony, Abemetal Pomo of Upper Lake, Koi Nation of Northern California, Middletown Rancheria of Pomo Indians of California, Robinson Rancheria of Pomo Indians, and Scotts Valley Band of Pomo Indians. The County of Lake is committed to commemorating the lives of missing and murdered indigenous people whose cases are documented and undocumented in public records and the media, and demonstrate solidarity with the families of victims in light of these tragedies, recognizing there is more work to be done to address the nationwide crisis. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake hereby designates May 2024 as Lake County Month of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and People. Passed and adopted the 7th day of May 2024, signed by the Chair of the Board of Supervisors, Bruno Sabatier. Thank you. Now we're going to go ahead and see if someone wants to say something. Would anyone like to make a comment at this point? Go ahead, EJ.
Thank you for reading that, Supervisor Simon, and for everyone that has come for this proclamation today in numbers. It's really appreciative, and it's important that we accentuate this because it is a thriving issue in our communities. One of the things I'd like to highlight, and just from experience, is at times, and I had a niece that was considered a suicide, I want to say a few years back, and in my opinion, it seemed more like a murder. However, if the information, if the evidence is not given in, there's no other recourse for law enforcement or for the district attorney's office to pursue this. So I'm not saying it's anyone's fault. I'm just saying that we need to do our best to get any evidence that we can to ensure this moves forward and to stay vigilant in making sure we pursue and keep our foot on the dial. I know there's many families here that have done that. And I know my cousin here who I'm looking at, she stayed the course on the issue for one of our lost women and my relative as well. And so her children are here. And it was very imperative that they stayed on that issue and came in numbers to face the person that did this thing to our relatives. So I just want to emphasize, make sure we have everything we have to turn into law enforcement and stay the course, stay on the whole case. Make sure you are there in numbers and make sure you make your voice present.
Anyone else?
Nashong Shake Shakea, Katie Ray Shogosha, Nomalaki is Keta, Wailaki is Keta, Wintun is Keta. Good morning, my name is Katie Ray. I'm an enrolled member of Round Valley Indian Tribes, and I'm the Victim Services and Programs Manager for Scotts Valley Band of Pomo Indians. Last year when we made our proclamation, Supervisor Sabatier suggested that we provide a flag for them and they would stand in support with us. So today I want to give them this flag that they can fly outside of the building every month of May. Along with that, I wanted to provide one for each tribe. So Middletown, Rancheria, Robinson, where did you go, Robinson? Scotts Valley, Big Valley, I saw Cooney somewhere, thank you, Shugs. Elim, Middletown, well I got Middletown. Who am I missing? Coy, I have one for Coy. Coy? I don't have anyone for Coy. And then I also wanted to get one for the West Shore and South Shore for Lake County Tribal Health to hang out in front of them. We cannot do this alone. We have many of us in here who work in this realm. Advocates who are on call 24 hours a day, who get calls from local police departments, the sheriff's department. We work with victim witness. We're in and out of the courtrooms and with the families day in and day out during their toughest times. So I want you guys to know and understand that we are here for you and we will do this work with you. But we have to make sure that we have all of the information. Please don't be afraid to step forward when these things happen. Know that we will be here with you and we will walk that course with you the entire time.
Oh. Would anyone else like to make a comment? All right, I'll go ahead and take the mic then. Thank you. What a powerful, powerful generational thing today. As we see these young women and men that are here to celebrate it, it's our job to continue working on. We are here, we will be seen, and we'll take care of each other. That's what we need to do, and we need to make generational change, and each one of these steps that we'll do, we'll continue doing that. As you know, the most powerful people in the tribe are the women that keep things moving. They did the basket gathering, the feeding. They made sure that us men kept on track. So as I surround myself with all these powerful women, as a tribal leader, it's my job and all the other leaders' tribes to make sure that if you see something, say something. Give the resources that are needed and continue to work hard to make the next generation that much better. So, And I'm going to open it up to the board.
I'll go ahead and say something. We just did the Pledge of Allegiance, and we finish it with justice for all. And I think those words are quite echoing in my head right now as we speak of this proclamation. We also took an oath when we got on these seats, and that's to protect all of us against aggression and any kind of violence against you, and also ensuring that the Constitution is upheld for all of your rights for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's my thoughts. That's for everybody. And this is an easy proclamation to say yes to and move forward with, because that is exactly the work that we should be doing every single day, is making sure that there is justice for everybody. And so thank you, both Supervisor Simon and Vice Chair Crandall, for bringing this again this year. This is powerful. Supervisor Green.
I'd like to, I saw many of you here in Lakeport on Friday at the gathering at, where's Ron? I'm going to mangle this, Hobbiton Community Park. And I'm so proud of the city of Lakeport for opening that new park space and honoring Indigenous people. And I saw just a moving reunification, if you will, between the people and the land, and having that valuable lakeshore property to commemorate this and gather and strengthen yourselves, I think was super powerful. That said, I was speaking with another constituent elsewhere in the library park, and I was explaining all this good stuff, and could not nudge that particular person to cross the literal bridge from park to park and engage with our Native peoples. So we have a lot of work to do still. One thing that strikes me both Friday and today is, and I don't know the whole history, I'm going to have to rely on my colleagues, EJ and Moak, for this, but law enforcement resources. Before I became a supervisor, I was in social services doing legal noticing for ICWA cases, and there is something of a pretty strong social safety net, but law enforcement resources that would be able to serve our tribal communities in Lake County, I think, is a missing piece of the puzzle. And so as much as I want to celebrate this, I also want to issue just a slight challenge that great job on all the resources that are there, but I think there are some resources missing, and how we tackle that and really bring some law enforcement to support you and make sure that we not only honor those who have been missing and murdered before, that we prevent future tragedies. And I don't have any answers for that, but I'm just so proud of the city of Lakeport for being able to host this event, so proud of you for being so willing to come out and share of yourselves, knowing it's not always easy. Thank you.
Sam,
Hold on.
One more.
I have so much gratitude for all of you coming here. Like Chairman Simon said, this is multi-generational, and this is really powerful work, and you bring your power here to this room for your advocacy. And it takes courage, too. I really want to recognize the courage that is all here with you today. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for this presentation. Thank you for bringing the flags. This means so much to all of us. And we want to continue to be advocates as we move forward and continue to support everybody that lives in this region together.
I think it's picture time.
Everyone make sure you can see him. If you can't,
You want to put it in the front row?
see you.
Here you go. The kid's the elder holder. Yeah. I'm gonna block you, Jay.
You're gonna block me? Get in there, Chad. Chadwick.
Huh? Oh, yeah, ain't it? Tell your mom I'm gonna come give her a hug.
And I do want to remind everybody that we have a Part B to this item.
You don't get to be in the back no more.
Approval of putting the flag. Yeah, just through a motion.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you guys for that, man. Just want to say thank you. I appreciate you for that, man. We just needed to get that mail portion in there. That's a monumental thing. We appreciate that, man.
I got the black shirt memo, too.
Yeah. No, we really do appreciate it. Yeah, of course. Thank you.
EJ, do you want to get Katie Ray back here since she got us the flag? I think I saw her sneak out. I let Lars know that it was probably coming. And so we're going to move on to Part B, our extra item, which was the consideration of approving the flying of the flag. And I want to pass this on to Vice Chair Crandall.
And so last year, as we mentioned earlier, it was discussed about having a flag flown for this situation and this initiative. So wanted to see if we can go ahead and approve that to fly the flag that was brought before us from Katie Ray.
All right. Thank you so much for bringing the flag, and not just the flag, all of the flags. That was more so than I had anticipated, which was awesome, I think, to have it flown everywhere. Any comments before we open it up for public comment? All right. Anyone wish to speak on the approval of flying the flag? I see none in Zoom and no one coming to the microphone in the chamber, so bringing it back for action.
I move
Your
to
point.
fly the missing and murdered Indigenous women's flag today, or people's,
For the month, since it's...
for the whole month.
Not to exceed 30 days pursuant to policy.
So moved.
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Is it just indefinitely every May, or do we need to renew it every May? Because I would be okay with just having it go forward.
My motion would be to fly it every May, but we'll see if that passes, so yes.
I need to check with county council if we can have that level of permanency based on the policy.
Policy does state that ceremonial flags shall be displayed for a period of time that is reasonable or customary for the subject that is to be commemorated, but no longer than 30 continuous days. So one option for your board is to have it thrown within that period of time, not to exceed 30 days pursuant to policy, and then at the next year, have another motion presented for your board's consideration. That is one option for you.
All right, so I'll second.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and we will try to get that up as soon as possible. Thank you for bringing that.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Okay, our next item is 6.4, presentation of proclamation designating May 1st through 7th, 2024 as Elks National Youth Week in Lake County. Supervisor Green.
Welcome to the next chapter of Procapalooza. You can come on up here.
That's a good one.
And we're wearing red. It all works out. All right, watch me kind of plow through this. Proclamation designating May 1 through 7th, 2024 as Elks National Youth Week here in Lake County. Whereas Lakeport Elks Lodge number 2704 will sponsor an observance of the National Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks, Elks National Youth Week, May 1st through 7th, 2024, to honor America's junior citizens for their accomplishments and to give fitting recognition of their services to community, state, and nation. And whereas no event could be more deserving of our support and participation than one dedicated to these young people who represent the nation's greatest resource and who in the years ahead will assume the responsibility for the advancement of our free society. And whereas our youth need the guidance, inspiration, and encouragement which we can give in cooperation with other local agencies and partners to help develop those qualities of character essential for future leadership roles in our nation and communities. And whereas for more than 18 years, Lakeport Elks Lodge has promoted the annual Elks National Americanism Essay Contest, which is open to all students in the 5th through 8th grades. Last year, 150 essays were submitted, with the Lake County student placing 3rd at the state level finals. And whereas this year, Lakeport Elks had a fun turnout as they participated in the Elks National Hoop Shoot, which has been unleashing gritty kids ages 8 to 13 for over 50 years. Hoop Shoot is committed to making contests fully inclusive and safe for all participants and volunteers. And whereas Lakeport Elks Lodge 2704 is giving $5,500 in scholarships to 5 outstanding seniors from Lake County's 3 public high schools this year. And whereas the Elks Drug Awareness Program has been recognized as the largest all-volunteer drug awareness program in the United States. Elks believe that to ensure a bright future for our country, it is essential that our children be raised in a drug-free environment. And whereas Lakeport Elks Lodge 2704 participates in the Lake County Sheriff's Athletic League, which builds relationships between law enforcement and local youth through sporting activities. That's a lot of elking. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake does hereby designate May 1 through 7, 2024 as Elks National Youth Week in Lake County. Passed and adopted this day, 7th day of May 2024. Do you have a few words?
Yes. We were asked to say just a few words because there are a lot of proclamations. We are very proud of our student who placed 3rd in the state with the Americanism essay. Our graduates with the scholarships, the hoop shoot, which we hadn't done for 10 years. Finally, we are running it again, and the best part is that we have now garnered the attention of coaches who are excited about having the hoop shoot done. And this is for children only up to 13. So it's not the big boys and girls, it's the younger ones. We want to foster that kind of excitement in basketball and other sports too. We are happy to be here and have the proclamation. We are excited about what we can do in the future for more students, and the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks is proud to work with children all the time, as many ways that we possibly can. Thank you. Forgot. I am Pat Finley. I am the exalted ruler of the Lakeport Elks for 2024-2025. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And thank you, Michael and Val. Appreciate all you do.
Don't leave quite yet. Usually there's a photo op.
Photo up. Sam, photo up. Val?
Not usually,
Val.
always.
Come on. And if you didn't get all that, I think they'll be down at Lakeport City Council tonight doing the same proc, right? Procapalooza, it keeps on going. Here we go.
Any other comments before we take a picture?
Hold up your proc.
Oh, here's my phone.
They seem to be ready.
Stand up.
Sure. I'll just make a quick comment. I think that we don't think a lot in our community don't understand just the wealth and value of our service groups within our communities. If you happen to know of a fundraiser that is being run, this is not so that they can walk away with money and have fun at Disneyland. This is going right back to the community. And there is so much happening within all of our communities because of these service groups. So thank you for all your efforts, and thank you for the lives that you impact. Please come on up to the microphone.
Like they said, I'm Val. I'm from Lakeport Elks. For 18 years, we've had participation of Americanism and essay. Because of that, the school district has actually incorporated it as part of their curriculum for their kids that are 8 to 13, but in the 5th and 6th, 7th grade. So last year we had 150 students all write essays on the title of something to do with the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. That was a tremendous amount, and the teachers are used to it, and they use that as a means of write an essay. So I just want to let you know it's not like he was saying fundraising, which we do contribute, and scholarships and hoop shoot. But this actually went into the school district itself. So, thank you.
Thank you for that. We're going to move on to items 6.5, 9:10 a.m., presentation of proclamation designating May 2024 as Lupus Awareness Month and May 10th, 2024 as Lupus Awareness Day. Supervisor Green.
Hi, how we doing? You know, I got a whole proclamation here. I can read this. It is my job to read this, but I kind of feel like one of you is talented enough to read this. Georgina, would you like to read this proclamation? Sure. Not to put you on the spot.
Good morning, everyone. We are here to designate May 2024 as Lupus Awareness Month and May 10th, 2024 as Lupus Awareness Day. Whereas more than 5 million people worldwide suffer from the devastating effects of lupus, and each year another 100,000 men, women, and children will be diagnosed with this disease, and it is 2 to 3 times more prevalent among people of color, including African Americans, Hispanics, Asians, and Native Americans. And whereas lupus is a chronic autoimmune disease that causes inflammation of various parts of the body, particularly the skin, heart, joints, and kidneys, and while lupus is not infectious, rare, or cancerous, it affects more people than cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, sickle cell anemia, and cystic fibrosis combined. And whereas lupus research shows that close to 2 million Americans have been diagnosed with lupus, which affects 1 out of every 185 people and strikes adult women about 9 out of 10 times more than adult men. And whereas although lupus ranges from mild to life-threatening and thousands of Americans who have lupus die each year, most cases can be controlled with proper treatment, and that early diagnosis and proper treatment are critical to the improvements of the quality of life and survival rate of lupus sufferers. And whereas lupus impacts more than just the life of the patient, it affects the patient's family, friends, coworkers, employers, and community. And whereas existing public information and programs about lupus in Lake County and Northern California remain inadequately disseminated and insufficient in addressing the needs of specific diverse populations and other underserved groups. And whereas the Lupus Foundation of Northern California, serving California from Santa Cruz to the Oregon border, was founded as a nonprofit organization to help alleviate suffering for lupus patients through patient and family services to help patients identify and seek treatment for undiagnosed cases and to achieve the eradication of lupus by supporting lupus research. And whereas increased public awareness, education, and funding for medical research are the keys to winning the battle against lupus. Do you want to read that part?
All right. I do the official part, apparently. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake does hereby designate May 2024 as Lupus Awareness Month and May 10th, 2024 as Lupus Awareness Day. It's a twofer. And extends our heartfelt wishes to Lake County residents and families living with lupus that they receive adequate medical treatment and support services passed and adopted this 7th day of May 2024. Oh, standing O. India, I know you have a couple words. All right, now some non-proc words here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Georgina Marie Guardado. Some of you know me from my work with the Lake County Literacy Program at the library, and I was Poet Laureate of Lake County for 2020 to 2024. 6 years ago, my dear sister Alicia passed from systemic lupus. She had a long battle with it, and there wasn't a lot of information known many years prior about lupus. So we're constantly learning, and we're wanting to raise more awareness. At that time, I also worked for women, infants, and children and learned how many women locally in Lake County are also affected by lupus. And we have limited resources here. So India, my dear friend who we met at my former job, who also suffers from lupus, decided it was time for us to spread more awareness around this condition. So thank you all. It also disproportionately affects women of color, including Native Americans. So it's really important for us to raise this awareness locally. Thank you to the Board of Supervisors for this.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is India Mendonça, and I was diagnosed with systemic lupus erythematosus the second time in 2013. I was diagnosed first in 2010. I was in denial because I had past experience a family member dying of lupus when I was a little girl. So I didn't want to believe that I had lupus. So 3 years passed, didn't take any of the medications, body suffered, and I had to go to the doctor, the emergency room, and that's when they told me that indeed I had lupus and that I need to start taking my medication. I am a survivor of this disease, but unfortunately, many others are not as fortunate. Lupus is a chronic autoimmune disease that affects millions of people worldwide. Despite its prevalence, there is still a lack of public knowledge and understanding about this illness. Lupus is not a disease you go around telling others about when you have lupus, such as myself. In many cases, you do not want to tell people that you have lupus because their reply is, "Oh, you don't look sick." And this type of response can be hurtful and dismissive, causing those with lupus to feel misunderstood and invalidated. As a result, many individuals with lupus choose not to disclose their condition, leading to lack of awareness and understanding of this disease. Although I have not personally met other lupus survivors in Lake County, California, I know that they are here because I hear about them, fighting to live their lives to the fullest. In honor of Lupus Awareness Month, we urge for a proclamation to be made to recognize the impact of this disease and to raise awareness for the millions of people affected by it every day. It is crucial to raise awareness about lupus, especially during May, which is Lupus Awareness Month. By making a proclamation to recognize May as Lupus Awareness Month, we can educate the public and support those living with this disease. Together, we can make a difference in the lives of lupus patients such as myself and their families. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with lupus, it is important to educate yourself about this disease and its impact by visiting I can't read it, Lupus Foundation of Northern California.org, you can access valuable resources and information, as well as learn about ways to get involved and support those living with lupus. We are proud to partner with the Lupus Foundation of Northern California to raise awareness and provide support through our virtual online support group, which is called Women's Online Support Group. There are other groups for men who have lupus, by the way, but we have a women's one. So if you go on the website, you can check out all the different support groups. They're for everyone. There's a different support group. As we celebrate May as Lupus Awareness Month, we invite you to join our third online support group meeting on May 24th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. To register for this online meeting, please visit the Lupus Foundation of Northern California.org website. Thank you for your support in spreading awareness and supporting those affected by lupus. Thank you, Board of Supervisors. Thank you.
Oh, well, don't run off. There'll be pictures. There'll be comments from the board. I just want to thank both of you for spending a lot of time with me on the visioning forums over the last year and a half. And here you are, like, advocating more. It's like you're nonstop. You are forces of nature, and I'm so glad to have spent some time with you. Anything with the board on this proclamation?
I'll add a quick comment that thank you for the education. Thank you for making the awareness for the public to think about getting checked and following up on the needs of their diagnosis. I think that we have a community that deals with a lot of ailments, and that I think any kind of awareness to get people walking more of a healthier path, to get a more productive life, is always a good thing. So thank you very much for bringing the awareness today.
All right, perfect. Thanks so much.
Thank you. And thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to item 6.6, presentation of proclamation designating May 2024 as Community Action Month and recognizing their 60th anniversary. Come on up. I think that's you too.
Everybody here from NCO, and we have some board members, we have staff, we have partners. Okay, Board of Supervisors, County of Lake, State of California, proclamation designating May 2024 as Community Action Month and recognizing their 60th anniversary. Whereas Community Action has made essential contributions across this nation for 60 years, inspiring a spirit of hope, creating opportunities for millions of people to be part of the American dream, and improving communities. And whereas Community Action remains committed to a nation that creates opportunities for all people to thrive, build strong, resilient communities, and ensure a more equitable society. And whereas Community Action is a robust state and local force, connecting people to life-changing services and creating pathways to prosperity in 99% of all American counties. And whereas Community Action builds and promotes economic stability as an essential aspect of enabling and enhancing stronger communities and stable homes, and whereas Community Action strategies and innovative solutions evolve as the needs of individuals, families, and communities in cities, suburbs, and rural areas change, and whereas Community Action is experienced in advancing opportunities by coordinating federal, state, local, and private resources to achieve results for people and communities, and whereas Community Action insists on community participation and involvement, ensuring that all sectors of the community have a voice and will be heard. And whereas Community Action is recognizing 60 years of innovation, impact, and providing proven results for Americans. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake do hereby proclaim May 2024 as Community Action Month in recognition of the hard work and dedication of North Coast Opportunities and community action agencies across the United States, passed and adopted this 7th day of March 2024. So North Coast Opportunities is Lake County's community action agency, and we have several board members here, and we may have some people in Zoom as well. Community Action Agency, that was, does anyone want to talk about the history? About, do we have any, Patty or anyone online?
Around.
So this is about the war on poverty 60 years ago, to really empower communities and build them up. And we have wonderful partners with North Coast Opportunities, committed to this vision, committed to this work every single day. I'm going to pass it to Pastor Shannon because she has been one of the board members for the longest. And just kind of share your thoughts. And then we also have Maria here, who's the chair of the board this year.
Hi, thank you, Jessica, a supervisor. It did begin with a war on poverty, but more than that, I want to say it is the belief that we can make a difference to poverty. It is the belief that we can make a difference in generational poverty. It is the difference, it is the belief that we collectively, if we do this work and we live this commitment, we will make lives better for all, not just some, but all of the women and children and men of America. And when we do this work, we are the solution. Maria, do you have anything that you want to add from online?
Thank you, Shannon. Yes, I am so proud to be a part of such a wonderful organization. NCO has not only provided support, but also provided leadership for our community and all the work that the staff does, the outreach, the impact that we have on both Lake and Mendocino counties. I'm so grateful for all the work that the staff does, and I am looking forward to continue doing the work for our community so that we can have a healthy, thriving community. That's all I got.
And Justin, do you want to just give us a refresher of all the programs that we're working on here in Lake County?
Thank you for asking Justin that, not me.
I would love to break down all the different programs we have, but we don't have enough time. So, but I think it's important is that you look at the people standing up here, and it takes community to work together. In order to have action in our community, we need to work together, and that goes for everybody. So I would love to spend more time talking about the different programs that we have, but I just want to say thank you to everybody in our community to make this work possible. So thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to have the board members raise their hands here. So we worked really hard over the past year to bring more Lake County board members on, make sure that the board is completely filled out and seated with the required number of board members from Lake County. And that really builds the impact here locally. So I want to really give my gratitude to Lisa, Jeff, and Shannon for, and Maria, you're a Lake County board member too, for all the work that you do. This is a big commitment. To be a member of the board of NCO is a big commitment, but it's really important work, and I'm really grateful that you all are up to the challenge, but also are invested enough to show up every day for that work. So thank you. And the staff and the volunteers. Thank you so much for everything that you do every single day. Anyone else? Okay.
Are there any comments from board members? I do just want to say thank you real quick to NCO. I would love to get a list of all the programs because I'm sure that I'm unaware of exactly all of the programs that occur. But I do know the ones that I am aware of. I'm very, very thankful for the commitment that you have to our community and the impacts that you're making to our community. I know that I speak often with Justin, and I know of the programs that he's very intimately involved with. And so just keep going, please. You're involved in just about everything that I can think of, and couldn't appreciate it more. Thank you for your 60 years of service.
Oh, much better.
All right. Thank you all. We're going to move on to item 6.7, presentation of proclamation designating the month of May 2024 Mental Health Matters Month.
Spread out.
Hello, how are you?
Thank you for everyone coming up. Board of Supervisors, County of Lake proclamation designating May 2024 as Mental Health Matters Month in Lake County. Whereas mental health challenges are one of the most common health conditions in California, affecting 1 out of 7 adults and 1 out of 14 youth, and impacting both the person experiencing mental health challenges and those persons who care and love for the person facing the challenges. And whereas 1 out of every 26 Californians with a serious mental health illness have difficulty functioning in everyday life, and if left untreated, have life expectations 25 years shorter than that of the general population. And whereas every day millions of people face stigma related to the mental health and may feel isolated and alone, going years before receiving any help. Whereas recovery can and does happen, and all Californians should know that the support and help is available regardless of any individual's financial situation, and whereas creating a community where everyone feels comfortable reaching out for the support they deserve is crucial to ending the stigma around the mental health. And whereas access to support and ending stigma is one of the paramount importance, and whereas Lake County Behavioral Health Services wishes to enhance public awareness of mental health now. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake join the Department of Behavioral Health Services and do hereby designate the month of May 2024 Mental Health Matters Month in Lake County. Passed and adopted the 7th day of May 2024 and signed by the Chair of the Board of Supervisors, Bruno Sabatier. I do just want to say how important this is. You know, whether or not it affects every family, but it affects my family. I have family members that are dealing with this, and there is a stigma to it. It's a real challenge to make sure that they're getting the medication, the help that individuals need. And one of the largest things is being able to recognize that you do need help through that process and taking a medication that will help you move through that process. I've seen success stories and failures when the support isn't just continually given, and it is a challenge. And you see young and old relatives. I have these folks that are dealing with these issues, and it's constant support. It's education to let them know that we will not give up on the fight. We're in this together. We love each and every one of them. And understanding that is the true benefit of being a family member or a loved one that helped someone deal with these issues. And there is a stigma out there that shouldn't be. Each and everybody needs to take care of themselves, and sometimes everybody needs a little help. So continuing that conversation with each and every one of our family members and community members is really important. Self-medicating is a big issue we have with this, with this illness, and getting people to understand that that help is there and to understand that medications can help you through this are really important. So it just is paramount that we continue that fight. So I want to thank behavioral health and everyone up here, because everyone either deals it with somebody they're involved with, whether it's through law enforcement, family, behavioral health services. We just continue the fight. I want to thank you all for being warriors in this fight. So thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. If you don't know, I'm Elise Jones. I'm the Director of Lake County Behavioral Health. And this year, again, I am honored and humbled to stand up here with so many wonderful, familiar faces, many of whom I've known and worked with for years. Thank you. If you didn't know, Lake County Behavioral Health and Lake County Probation Department work really well together, and we've both been tackling a lot of the same issues for a lot of years. I think we have actually the best county in California, and I think we have the best department, and no offense, respectfully. In seriousness, though, I also want to, speaking of stigma, you're absolutely right, Moke, and thank you for giving voice to that. And so in an effort to break down stigma every year, it's important for me to say that the best services are usually ran by peers, and I'm a peer myself, so I have depression, I have obsessive compulsive disorder, I have post-traumatic stress disorder, and just generally an anxious person. And so the journey for me to get services for mental health has not been easy either. And so I've made it my life's mission, as many of my colleagues up here have, to ensure that people don't struggle to get the help that they need, that there is help available, and that you can get better and recover. It doesn't mean that even somebody like myself doesn't have bad days. I certainly do. But together, we're a lot stronger for it. And I want to honor our staff, some of whom are here, and others who are diligently working in the field, for supporting, lifting up the most vulnerable and underserved members of our community. These are folks that are deeply marginalized by society and have few resources, and so for many of those individuals, we're the light in the dark. We're the candle that shines for them, and we're a lifeline. And I know each and every one of our staff takes that as almost a sacred responsibility to care for those individuals and to make sure that people, for one, don't lose their life because of a mental illness, and for two, have the ability to live healthy, meaningful, and productive lives, which is what we all want. So again, I want to thank my wonderful staff. I'm humbled. If you didn't know, please also join us this Saturday, the 11th, I believe, from, when does it start? At 10 a.m., 10 to 2-ish. Yes, for Mental Health Matters Month, we'll have a lot of vendors, a lot of free stuff. Will there be food? We don't know. But it'll be fun. It's a chance to get outside and share space with your community. Again, we have a wonderful community here that will be at Library Park. And that's all I got. I thank you so much for having us. Does anybody else want to speak?
Supervisor Green?
Just super quickly, in addition to the great team members here, we also have a Behavioral Health Advisory Board, and I want to acknowledge them and lift them up. They do provide a valuable service to your department and to our community. Thank you.
All right. 3 more presentations to go. Our next one is presentation of proclamation designating the month of May 2024 as CalFresh Awareness Month in Lake County. And I'll go ahead and take care of this. Oh. I guess I'll go back to 6.8 afterwards. Make that 4, not 3. Thank you all. Proclamation designating May 2024 as CalFresh Awareness Month in Lake County. Whereas CalFresh is a monthly benefit for food purchases that helps low-income residents gain access to healthy foods, and participation can play a crucial role in improving the health and status of vulnerable populations. And whereas every dollar in CalFresh generates $1.79 in local economic activity. And whereas 17,169 individuals in Lake County are currently receiving CalFresh benefits, totaling $3.08 million per month, $32.73 million in benefits over the course of the last year. And whereas the County of Lake Department of Social Services recognizes the need to reduce hunger by increasing access to and participation in food assistance benefits, particularly for elderly, disabled, families, and children, and is committed to an outreach and public awareness campaign that promotes equity and inclusion in access and to increasing awareness of potentially eligible Lake County residents about the benefits of CalFresh. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake does hereby designate the month of May 2024 as CalFresh Awareness Month in Lake County, passed and adopted the 7th day of May 2024. So I just want to add a little bit. Number one, love what CalFresh can provide for those in need, those that are struggling, especially over at our farmers markets where you can generate $2 from the $1 that you receive. But also I want to give a quick shout out to both the Clear Lake Gleaners, who offer food every single week to those in need, as well as to Redwood Empire Food Bank, who comes from Sonoma County here to Lake County to provide similarly to those in need. Without their help, the struggle would be that much more dire for those that have food insecurity, and I'm thankful for everybody that's involved in doing that. Thank you so much.
Tara Gandolfo, Program Manager over CalFresh, very new, and the outreach group. And I just want to say our outreach group are at the farmers markets. They're at the senior centers. They're out. You will see Jen pretty much everywhere we have an event. Come and see them. They'll help. They'll help with paperwork. They'll help you fill out documents. If you don't want to talk to somebody, benefitscal.com. Apply. Really, really, we want to make sure that we're hitting anybody we can that can get even the smallest amount of assistance. Thank you.
I don't know if there's a more critical time right now in our county and across the country for food insecurity and families being impacted by the high cost of food these days. So I think now more than ever, the work that you do is just so essential. So thank you for everything that you're doing, and thank you for going to all of the places, because that's how we really can engage with the community and get them signed up for the services that that they need and that they're entitled to. So thank you. And if anyone knows of families that are suffering right now, which is a lot, a lot of people are, these are hard times to just even buy food for families. So thank you.
So I am skipping things today again, so we're going to go backwards to 6.8. Presentation of proclamation designating the week of May 5th through 11th as Correctional Officers Week in Lake County. Please come up.
All right. We got everyone. All right, excellent. And so I'd like to start off with just acknowledging that I'm glad to see that this is, and I think we are all glad to see this as a standalone. As we all know, the Sheriff's Department's, one of their initial responsibilities is to operate the jail. And if that doesn't happen, we don't have deputies on the street, and that's even more prevalent now since we've been dealing with a lot of these different budget cuts and initiatives that are, passed through the state and whatnot. So getting these folks in their positions, making them feel appreciated, their morale, they have to deal with a lot, And I'll just add one last thing. I know for me, as a young man, 26 years ago, 2 correctional officers set me straight. Lyle Thomas and Frank Goodmanson, who was my coach, right? So right after that, I joined the Army, right after I fell into my whole little spat, So they not only serve in that capacity, but they're also mentors. They know people. They were coaches. They're in the community. So they see some young men in there, and they're like, hey, what are you doing? So there's a lot going on there. So I will start with the proclamation here. So we're designating May 5th through 11th, 2024 as Correctional Officers Week in Lake County, whereas the operation of correctional and detention facilities housing millions of prisoners and detainees throughout the nation represents a crucial component of our criminal justice system, and whereas no public servant has a more difficult or less publicly visible job than the men and women who ensure the safety, containment, and control of the human beings charged to their care, while sustaining uncompromised regard for their dignity and constitutional rights. And whereas correctional personnel must remain constantly vigilant in terms of their own safety, as well as protecting inmates from the violence of other prisoners, and at times from inflicting harm on themselves. And whereas correctional personnel work under demanding circumstances and face danger in their daily work lives, often sacrificing personal and family time to provide a necessary but often thankless and unrecognized service to the public. Whereas correctional personnel are charged with protecting the rights of public and safeguarding the public from criminals in their custody, while at the same time encouraging prisoners to develop skills and attitudes that can help them become productive members of society after their release. And now, therefore be it proclaimed, the County of Lake Board of Supervisors designates the week of May 5th, 11th, 2024 as Correctional Officers Week in Lake County, encourages all citizens of Lake County to join in recognizing the commitment of all custody staff who maintain the safety and security of our correctional and detention facilities. Passed and adopted this 7th day of May 2024, signed, Chair of the Board of Supervisors, Bruno Sabatier. Speaking of skipping forward, I skipped a paragraph. That's why I went back. I was like, wait.
Good morning. I'd like to thank the board for this proclamation, and of course, thank the men and women who do this job. Locally, statewide, nationwide, whether we title you as a Deputy Sheriff Corrections, Correctional Officer, Custodial Officer, this proclamation is kind of all-encompassing. Kind of hold a soft spot for me. I started my career as a correctional officer here. I learned so much about dealing with people, so much about de-escalation, developed such a respect for the men and women who do the job. They come to work every day and work in an environment with, quite frankly, some of the worst society has to offer. They work in an environment where many of the people there would like to do them harm if they had half a chance, and they do that 24/7. There's no time off there. I'm very appreciative of what they do. As EJ kind of talked about, they're a little bit behind the scenes, but nothing happens in law enforcement, nothing happens in public safety without them. Very valuable. I appreciate them. I know this board appreciates them, and thank you again for the proclamation.
Sure. Anybody else have any supervisors?
I'm also grateful to see this as a standalone proclamation because this has to be one of the most difficult jobs in our county. And you do it with patience and grace and respect. And so you have our respect and our deep appreciation for this every day.
I can just add, I was grateful that I was able to attend the ceremony where you swore in a bunch of new deputies, including your correctional deputies, and there was no difference. It was teamwork. You were all team Lake County sheriffs, and you're right. You start your career there. It's an unheralded career, and for many people, we'll never know how much they're contributing. But I just want to acknowledge that we know and we appreciate. And in addition to the hires for corrections and seeing the other deputies, I just want to congratulate you and staff on really making forward strides in a very difficult staffing environment. It's really good to see.
Then we're going to move on to item 6.10, presentation of proclamation commending Crystal Marketan, Director of Social Services, on her retirement, and I believe she is on Zoom.
I'll gladly do this as a recovering line staffer from Social Services. Yay! Crystal, are you on the Zoom? I'm speaking. Crystal? I don't want to speak to an empty screen. Do we have Crystal on the Zoom? Okay. She's there, but we just can't pop her up? Okay. I'll just pretend she is there looking down with beneficence. All right. This is a proclamation commending Crystal Marketan, whereas following 7 years of dedicated and inspiring leadership as the Director of Social Services in Lake County, Crystal Marketan retired May 3rd, 2024. And whereas Crystal Marketan has been a steadfast advocate for advancing the well-being and welfare of the most vulnerable members of our community. And whereas under her guidance, the Department of Social Services has achieved numerous milestones and accomplishments, including the effective continuation of all programs and services during the global pandemic, ensuring the community was supported and that all mandates were met. And whereas throughout her tenure, Crystal Marketan has exemplified outstanding direction, vision, and commitment to excellence, fostering a culture of collaboration, professionalism, and compassion. And whereas her departure from the department leaves a profound void, her positive impact will be enduring, and she will be fondly remembered and deeply missed by her colleagues, peers, and the community at large. Now therefore be it proclaimed, Crystal Marketan is hereby commended for her dedication, passion, and tireless efforts in serving those in need, and we wish her good health and much happiness during her retirement. Passed and adopted this 7th day of May 2024. Standing O, Crystal, standing O. And just, hey, we do have Social Services. I appreciate so much all of you coming out. And if I can just add a couple comments. Stephen, no offense, you're no Crystal. I appreciate Crystal's work with First Five Lake, and I also appreciate the leadership she demonstrated for the time I was a line staffer with Social Services. The pandemic was very difficult, but for anybody who works in Social Services, it is a massive department with many functions, and the leadership shown during the pandemic continues to stay with a much different distributed workforce than she inherited when she took over the job. So I want to add my personal thanks to Crystal for doing a great job.
I don't see her unmuting or putting on a video, but let's go ahead and continue with the comments.
Can we get that to her? Absolutely. And any comments, feel free.
My name's Kelly Page. I'm a deputy director at Social Services. I worked under Crystal for the last 6 years that I was in the department. And I just want to thank her, even though I can't see her, I want to thank her for her leadership and guidance during my time at the department, and just to let her know on behalf of all the staff that she is going to be missed. And I'm a crier, so please excuse my voice, but we miss you already.
Thank you, Kelly. Now I'm going to cry now. My name is Amber Davis. I'm a Deputy Social Service Director over Child Welfare. What a lot of people don't know is I actually came to Lake County to follow Crystal. She has been my supervisor for 17 years, and she will be missed. So, thank you.
I see we have Matthew Rothstein.
Good morning, board. So Crystal Markington indicated that she's not able to unmute her audio, unfortunately, but she did ask me to please extend her appreciation to you, to your board, and also to staff for all of your tremendous collaboration over the years. And she is hearing every word of what you're sharing in Zoom and very much appreciates that. So just wanted to extend that on behalf of Crystal.
Thank you for that. I know that I spoke directly with Crystal. I called her 20 minutes before her 5 p.m. deadline of retirement on Friday, gave her some personal thoughts on working together and things alike, but I know that I appreciate her patience. I met Crystal dealing with emergencies, dealing with evacuation centers, and I think that takes a level of patience to not only learn, because I think we all had to go through a learning curve, how to deal with evacuation centers, but also to how to progressively get better at it and continue to learn. I know that she's been dealing with some of the most vulnerable in a county that unfortunately has a high level of poverty, and her efforts are seen, her impacts are felt, and we wish her the best in retirement. So thank you so much, Crystal.
And through the chair, I'm wondering, we have so many deputies and staff. Crystal's not here. You'd be the great next thing. Sam does have me trained. Who would like to come up and do a photo op with the proclamation?
Let's go ahead and pause on that. We have Samantha Bond, I take it, is what you... Oh. Let's get a final comment, and then we'll get that picture.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. Won't let me show my video, but I just want to express my deepest gratitude to Crystal Markington. As Supervisor Green stated, she served as one of the commissioners for First 5 Lake. She was incredibly dedicated and incredibly impactful on that commission. So I just want to extend that gratitude as well.
Thank you very much. So let's go ahead and take a photo picture for Crystal.
Thank you, Michael. I gotta say, I appreciate your suggestion.
Now I believe it's our last one. This is Part A of 611, Presentation of Proclamation designating May 4th, 2024 as Wildfire Community Preparedness Day in Lake County. Supervisor Pyska will take this.
We have a lot of partners in the room. If you want to come on up. CAL FIRE, you're a partner. Our climate officer, she's a partner. Come on up. We do have our social services team that has helped with evacuations and sheltering.
Keep going, keep going.
Before we get started, I just want to show the vast variety of partners we have. And these are just a fraction of NGOs and nonprofits, agencies, organizations that are all active in this work right now. 9 years ago was the year that started kind of everything in Lake County. That was 2015, changed the trajectory of many of our lives. And so many of you have made it your life work to make sure that our communities are no longer as vulnerable to wildfire. And that's really what this is about. And so I really thank you all for the work that you do every single day and for coming here today to show this collaboration, because it truly is a collaboration. And we're on many, many meetings every single month working together through blue skies to continually make our community safer. So thank you. And this is a long one because there's a lot here. The Board of Supervisors, County of Lake, State of California proclamation designating May 4th, 2024 as Wildfire Community Preparedness Day in Lake County. Whereas wildfire significantly impacts Lake County's environmental, economic, and social well-being and can occur any month. And whereas residents of Lake County's fire-prone communities must accept responsibility for living in high fire hazard areas. And whereas residents, property owners, utility providers, evacuation corridor owners, and essential services providers must prepare to survive wildfire by ensuring proper management of vegetation and debris surrounding their locations and must stay continuously vigilant throughout the year. And whereas residents, citizens, and guests should take protective action immediately during a wildfire or any other emergency to keep themselves safe. And whereas Zone 0 is the ember-resistant zone which extends 5 feet from buildings and has been proven by science to be the most important of all defensible space zones and is designed to keep fire or embers from igniting materials that can spread fire to your home. And whereas using hardscape materials for landscaping, removal of all dead and dying vegetation, removing all branches within 10 feet of any chimney or stovepipe outlet, limiting combustible items on top of decks, relocating firewood and lumber to Zone 2, and replacing combustible fencing attached to the home and non-combustible alternatives are some examples of clearing Zone 0. And whereas residents and property owners are requested to create 100 feet of defensible space, reduce fuels, have their address clearly posted, have a ready for wildfire, ready, set, go plan, prepare for extended periods without electricity, and whereas residents and property owners are required to follow Article 8 to Chapter 13 of the Lake County Code regarding hazardous vegetation and or combustible material, which requires that defensible space protections are accomplished on those portions of unimproved parcels adjacent to improved parcels and along roadways. And whereas utility providers, phone, cable, fiber, electrical et al., are requested to create defensible space and remove all fuels within 100 feet of infrastructure stations, transmission line systems, earth to sky, and have their address clearly posted. And whereas evacuation and roadway corridor owners, federal, state, county, city, and private, are requested to create defensible space, limb up ladder fuels 10 feet, reduce and/or remove all fuels within 100 feet of roadways. And whereas essential services providers, hospitals, medical clinics, fire stations, police stations, government facilities, senior centers, care and shelter locations are requested to create defensible space and reduce and/or remove all fuels within 100 feet of their infrastructure, have their address clearly posted, and prepare for extended periods without electricity. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Lake County Board of Supervisors, in partnership with the Lake County Fire Chiefs Association and the Lake County Community Risk Reduction Authority, supports May 4th, 2024 as Wildfire Community Preparedness Day in Lake County. What you do makes a difference. Wildfire knows no season. Passed and adopted the 7th day of May, 2024. So this year, it's Wildfire Prevention Day, or Preparedness Day. It used to be Wildfire Prevention Day, but we know that we cannot prevent wildfire. But we can work to prepare. And so I appreciate all of you, every single thing that you do. We are going to listen to a couple of the partners because there's so much work happening in this space. When I think about what we were doing 10 years ago to where we are today, it is a major shift in culture and how we engage with each other and how we accept our responsibility in the private space, the public space, and how we work together and how we collaborate. So I'm just going to ask if anyone here has anything else to add. All right.
Good morning, board. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nick Widmer. I'm a manager for our community adaptation program for the American Red Cross, and I just wanted to take this time to give a shout out to our community organizations active in disaster. I think that's to your point of how we've worked together over the years. That's something that's really evolved, and we've seen that level of cooperation from public, private, our nonprofit partners, interested members of the community that are joining in and really getting into wildfire preparedness and how we can help our community. So again, a shout out to many members of the COAD that are present today.
Thank you.
So I'm Lori Hutchison. I'm the Lake County Fire Safe Council Coordinator, and I've talked about it before, but the Defensible Space Assistance Program that we are currently working on to focus on people in the community that cannot do that work themselves for a myriad of reasons. We have about 100 on the list so far. We're continuing to do outreach, targeting those communities. It's open to everybody, but we're targeting underserved communities to try to get that work done. Working with several of these partners to try to put together some workshops for the community for emergency evacuation for seniors, focusing on seniors, and a demonstration garden for defensible space as well, working with South Lake Fire Safe Council. We're trying to create something for that as well. So just to try to cover the gamut and get all the groups to focus on that defensible space specifically and evacuation.
Great. And Lori, well, thank you for sharing what you've been working on, but we also have really big news in capacity development. One of the things that we've been working towards for many, many years is how do we increase capacity in these organizations to actually get this work done that we have all known has been so needed over the years? Because we were looking at this just overwhelming amount of work that needed to happen. And Lori was the only employee for both the Fire Safe Council and the Resource Conservation District. So now, can you share some of the growth that's happening?
Okay, so we currently we have several people that we've hired on as contractors, I guess. But we also just received a couple of different grants, the county coordinator grant for California Fire Safe Council, which will allow us to hire an executive director. And they will oversee both the RCD and the Fire Safe Council. So we have done some interviews. We are hoping to, we've extended an offer. We're hoping that that is going to be accepted soon, and just going to continue growing that whole program as much as possible. We are also hoping that later today, maybe we will get a new contract, because the Fire Safe Council has been an ad hoc committee of the Board of Supervisors since its inception in 2009, and so we're hoping to make that a permanent program of the Resource Conservation District. Am I forgetting something?
This is massive work, really big work, so thank you.
Thank you for all of your support.
CAL FIRE, do you want to talk about Zone Zero a little bit? Because this is new-ish. A lot of people don't know about it. We've all been working on Zone 1 through 5 and out. But does someone want to come and talk about the science behind Zone Zero and the next thing we all need to do to harden our homes?
I can certainly try.
Great.
Fire apparatus engineer Gannon Chapman. I'm with Sonoma Lake Napa unit assigned to the Clear Lake Oak station on Highway 20. Those are my partners. They're all assigned there as well. Zone Zero is a new thing that just came out this year. Kind of the main goal of that is hardscape. So we're going to eliminate the mulch or the bark 5 feet, 0 to 5 feet away from the structures. And that kind of assists with for us, less having to do clear the space around it. And then there's a lot of science. You can find YouTube videos on this regarding that said thing. Basically, the science behind it is the embers catch the mulch and the bark on fire and leads to the home catching on fire. And embers can last days, weeks, depending on what it is. It can last for quite a while. So it's a new thing. We're kind of pushing it hard here in Lake County. But yeah, 0 to 5 feet is new Zone Zero.
And there's some really compelling videos on Ready, Set, Go. I think that's where the videos are, showing two structures next to each other, where one of them has Zone Zero and one of them doesn't, and how quickly the ignition takes place. So this is just, it's really, really important, and you can be like me this spring, digging up all of your plants that you thought would be looking really nice next to your house, but now they need to be moved to a safer place further away. And so we know we live in the WUI, we live really far out sometimes from our service providers, and your house has to be able to survive on its own. It really does. That's part of the responsibility of living here. So this is a relatively simple thing that each of us can do. So I encourage you all to take a walk around your perimeter and see what you can move further away. That's a really good start. You can also do hardscaping. There's a lot more that Deanna maybe can touch on with the home hardening program, because that is one of the requirements of the program as well.
Hi, everybody. My name is Deanna Fernway. I work for North Coast Opportunities, and we've recently had the pleasure of taking on a grant in home hardening. And this partnership is with Cal OES, FEMA, and the County of Lake. So we just got underway on our first home. And some of the measures that we will be focusing on is making sure that we have at least 2 feet of non-combustible siding on the bottom of your home, on top of the deck, under the deck, enclosing the deck with a ember-resistant material. We will be doing hardscaping and clearing that zero zone, making sure that all the plants are taken away, hardscaping, replacing mulch and bark with rock. We will be working on gutters, making sure they're non-combustible and they have gutter covers so embers aren't flying into your gutters and then catching your roof on fire. There's a multitude of things that you can do for your home that are free and cheap. Little bit of manual labor, but definitely worth it for your home and your neighbor's home and the community as a whole.
So So Deanna mentioned the first house got underway. This is the first house in the state. This state. For all of the pilot programs. And that is because Deanna's crew and NCO have been so diligent over the past 2 years. So thank you. Yeah. Congratulations. Really awesome. And then you also mentioned that hardening your home protects your neighbor's home. And so now we're moving into the area of cluster hardening, which is what the whole pilot program in the Kelseyville Riviera is about. Because we know that one house can become an ignition source, and it can continue through the rest of the neighborhood. So we've got to focus on cluster hardening, and that is making sure that the entire community is hardened. And so that's what this big project is all about. And so it's really important to do your part for the rest of your neighborhood. Okay, Magdalena, did you want to say something?
My name is Magdalena Valderrama, and I'm the Programs Director for the Siegler Springs Community Redevelopment Association. We're a tiny little nonprofit, but we're very proud to be have all these partners with working together, because if anything, we learned from the fire as we love our land, we love our water, and fire can be a very good partner in keeping that land and water beautiful. It also showed us that what will make a difference is the relationships that we have to the land and the relationships that we have with all of the people, all of the cultures that live here. I happen to also be the Community Regional Firewise Community Coordinator working with CAL FIRE, the Northern Region, and we promote the cluster hardening. I didn't know that term until today, so that all communities, it doesn't matter that only one of you is doing it. You all have to do it. We all have to do it together. Fire doesn't know any political boundaries. It doesn't know any cultural boundaries. So we can keep weaving our communities together and make them as Lake County as strong and beautiful as the Pomo baskets of the folks here who stewarded this land and whose bounty we still enjoy.
We do not have a representative from Terra here today because I think they're out in the field working. This is Tribal Eco Restoration Alliance, who also does an incredible amount of work. Tomorrow they are doing a burn in the Cobb area. It is said that all of California will burn at one point. It is up to us what that fire looks like. And so putting good fire on the ground is our choice and our responsibility and our stewardship. So you will see fires going throughout the year. This is something that we have to get reaccustomed to, because this is something that's happened for thousands of years. This is what the landscape needs and requires. And we do have a lot of trauma from wildfires in our counties, in our county and in surrounding counties. And so a lot of times people will have an emotional response to seeing smoke. But we have to move away from that. We have to get used to seeing it year-round. And you will start to see it more year-round with Terra doing their projects. So I just want to give them a big shout out. With the Workforce Alliance, we're doing a big investment in trying to get more funding and more workforce development, because that has been another big push that we've all been working on over the years. Is we know we have this massive amount of work. We don't know who's going to do it. So we don't have our Hogback Ridge crew representatives here either, but that is Chief Ciancio in the North Shore Fire Districts. Big project over the last couple of years is bringing on staff who are trained to do this work year-round and also have their Fire 1 certificate so that they can assist CAL FIRE and our local departments with cleanup during the fire season. And then we don't have clerk here either, but clerk is bringing in many, many millions of dollars each year to focus on our community wildfire protection plan priorities. And so, as a lot of you know, we finally got that passed and adopted this fall. So we have our priorities, we have our roadmap, we have our team, and everybody is working on this together. Is there anybody that I missed that would like to add something? Oh, of course, Tammy, from the community side.
Hi, Tammy Alexei, North Coast Opportunities, and I run a project called EPIC, Emergency Preparedness in Communities. Currently, we have our Neighbor Fest events going. They are a block party to promote preparedness that we're doing. With that event, we do a fire drill for the kids. So I have to explain this a little more just because it's so cool. We set up some cots. We have the kids lay down on the cots and put some goggles on that are darkened out. We push the smoke detector, have them run through a jumpy house obstacle course, and meet their parents on the other spot at the meeting spot. This does a lot of reinforcement. It gets those kids as young as like 1 or 2 to think about when that button is pushed, that alarm sounds, that they have to get to the meeting spot. Of course, they have fun doing it. It gets the parents to meet them at the meeting spot and then to also reinforce that they need to practice this at home during the evening. We also do tabling at those events, and I forgot your lunch. I brought you guys lunch. I brought some MREs for them, supervisors for lunch. We do an activity at these events that we make the MREs and let people try them. Hopefully we have enough to let them take one home also. We also just did a Love Where You Live, Lake Unites Volunteers. Love Where You Live Where You Love. It was a volunteer fair to get more of these agencies volunteers. Also the COAD, which Nick mentioned. And then we have a California Emergency Response Corps team. They are here, well, the majority of them. We have one missing today. And they'll tell you a little about some of the other stuff that we're doing, if that's okay. Who wants to go first?
I'm Amanda Joe. I'm on the CERC team, California Emergency Response Corps. We do a lot of stuff. So recently we helped the Family Resource Center in Ukiah pack about 400 bags for families in need. We also assist the Redwood Coast Regional Center to provide go bags to select organizations to better prepare access and functional need clients to be prepared and more educated in case of a disaster.
Hi, I'm Amanda Collins. I'm a second-year CERC member. I kind of have it written out because I got a lot of stuff to say. So one thing we do is we do a day of service on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. This is a day of service where AmeriCorps and NCCC was actually there with us this year, and we helped the citizens caring for Clear Lake do a cleanup on Sulphur Bank and throughout the main arteries of Clear Lake. And then we also participated in a unity event at the Methodist Church. We also partner with Red Cross closely, where we have the opportunity to be trained in a lot of different things, like hands-only CPR, where we teach compression first, compression-only CPR in order to save a life until the paramedics get there. And then we also do the pillowcase project with the Red Cross, which teaches 3rd to 5th graders how to pack a go bag in the event that they're evacuated. So we go into schools and we do a whole group training with them and go over it. We give them this pillowcase, they get it decorated and put in different items when they get home for their go bag. We also do a Prepare with Pedro for the K through 2nd graders, which is a story that we tell the kids about Pedro the penguin and kind of introduce them to the idea of being evacuated and having to get out of their home and get out fast when that alarm sounds. We also are partnered up with the county planning department doing the 2050 small group facilitation during the general plan and local area plan town hall meetings. And we also are completing surveys, which we are trying to get 1,000. I think we have like 500, about just over 500. Our goal is 1,000 surveys to be completed for the 2050 survey. So if you haven't completed, please do so at 2050. What is the website? LakeCounty2050.org. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dawn Kennedy, and I'm first year AmeriCorps California Emergency Response Corps. And we have been working to do the mitigation up in Bottle Rock area, and we'll be working with Spring Valley as well and Cobb Fire Safe Committee to get that mitigation all cleaned up so that we can not have fires like we did before.
And I'm Pamela Coleman. This is my first term with CERC, and thanks to NCO and CERC, I got my traffic flagger certification.
So the traffic flagger certification was something that came from the Hogsback crew or from Chief Ciancio. He requested flaggers. Nobody was certified in the county to come and help them out. So we said that's a need. We've done 2 classes so far, and we hope to do another. And then last but not least, we have my coworker, Dennis Burke, who will talk on CERC.
Good morning, everybody. It's still morning, right? Yeah. My name is Dennis Burke. I'm a project coordinator for North Coast Opportunities. I work in the disaster response programs with Tammy, most of the programs that were already mentioned here. One of my main hats that I wear is the CERT program, Community Emergency Response Team. It's a federal program overseen by FEMA. And at this time, it is worked through with North Coast Opportunities, that oversees a program in both Lake and Mendocino counties. CERT team members are trained. They go first through a basic training, then through a FEMA course training, and the training continues. They take a oath, disaster service worker oath eventually, and can be deployed during times of disasters. So they are not first responders, but we are trained to work with first responders in our communities during times of disasters. We have other programs that we are working on too. Tammy mentioned our flaggers training course, which many of our members are a part of. We go through a home assessment training program, so we can go out and assess homes in different areas. And we're also working with different animal projects around Lake County, animal preparedness and evacuation. And we're also currently working with our local fire departments to help them with the Reflect to Protect program, to make your addresses much more visible for the first responders. And it looks like we're going to be meeting soon here with our Fire Chiefs Association to maybe have our CERT team members take on the job of putting these signs up for them.
So you heard a little bit about a collaboration happening with the county department. So we don't have up here with us right now our Public Works Department, but Public Works and Director De Leon partnered for the last 2 years with the Konocti Fire Safe Council to finish up the evacuation project of the Soda Bay corridor and purchased the masticators, which are out on the roadsides, chewing up all that vegetation to make our evacuation routes safer. And then the biggest investment that we've had lately is our climate adaptation, our Chief Climate Resiliency Officer / tribal liaison. And this was a position that we so desperately needed because, again, we saw the need for all this work to happen, but we had no capacity to write grants and monitor grants, and also act as a liaison to other departments. And so Terry's been with us for about a year and almost a half, and bringing in a lot of the funding that we've been talking about here, working as an ambassador and a partner with all of the other agencies. So I will just pass it to you, Terry.
Thank you. Again, Terry Logston, Chief Climate Resiliency Officer and Tribal Liaison, and it's my pleasure to work with all of these professionals. I've worked in the community for quite some time. I have worked with NCO in the past. I've worked with other tribal nations. And so to bring that work together, I think of myself in doing this work as almost like a weaver, although I'm not a weaver, but I'm bringing together what I learned from these different meetings and what they're doing in their different departments and organizations and connect them, and then bring ideas and bring people together to write grants to support the work that we need done in Lake County.
And then we also have the chair of the Risk Reduction Authority. If you'd like to say anything, Supervisor Simon?
Obviously, all the collaboration that happens in Lake County, you just continue to see it grow. And I know we've been taking small steps since 9 years ago to really make some advances. So all I can say is thank you to everybody that has been at all of the meetings, all the collaborative efforts, the only CMAT that has ever taken place in California's history. I want to thank Magdalena and everybody who helped bring that to fruition. But I just want to thank everybody who does this hard work every year. Everybody is collaborating through the RRA, every tribal nation, every government in the county, every government organization. We just continue that collaboration, and we're going to be okay. The other thing I want to say too is everyone has to do their own part, but doing it responsibly. Every year we have someone cutting grass in the afternoon that creates a spark, and then trying to do the right thing at the right time is always a challenge. So I just want to thank everybody for the support and the hard work. Let's hope we meet like this, not in shelters, as we move forward. So we'll continue the hard work that needs to be done. Thank you.
So I'll just end by saying that we have allowed the experiences of 7 years of fires and 2/3 of our county burning to literally transform us. And it's hard, and it's been difficult, and often unpleasant and traumatic. But here we are all today, and the work that we've been building on year after year is going to continue thanks to all of you.
Anything further, Supervisor Green?
If I could just add a couple, don't run away from the photo op.
They're actually pretty good. You should try them.
I want to thank everyone here. MREs, please. This is an amazing display. Supervisor Pyska, I watched you rattle these off with just amazing recall, and even you were struggling to get all the acronyms and agencies that have been driving this effort. This is a much different landscape from 2015, and I want to thank Supervisor Simon and Pyska for their hard work on the Risk Reduction Authority and developing not just the mosaic here that you see, but also developing the wisdom and the expertise on this board to provide some leadership and some funding avenues and the creation of our Climate Resiliency Officer. These things don't happen in a vacuum. So I want to thank, again, the very hard work of Supervisor Pyska and Simon on this. I just wanted to highlight a couple things I didn't hear. In the Zone Zero, I have to channel my chief rights. Those attic vents and those subspaces, you need to get some screening on that. So those embers, even if you clear all the vegetation out of Zone Zero, you need to make sure those embers don't get inside your house. I do have a reflective sign. I haven't installed it yet. I'm supposed to have a go bag, and I don't have one. If there's one thing, it's great to see all of this, if only because some of our newer residents and even those of us that were here during that series of wildfires may have relaxed by necessity. We've had a couple decent fire seasons, but of course we have high fuel loads this year, and we don't know what's going to happen. So I appreciate very much everything that you've done here, this great team. But I know I still have work to do to harden my own home, and I encourage those in the community who know it's a struggle to stay on top of this. I had a constituent reach out to me, and I gladly handed it over to Supervisor Pyska, and she was on it. I saw that same constituent the next day, and she was so pleased to have the resources that were made available to her. Thank you all.
Oh, they're different ones?
For lunch. So it's 11 o'clock. We've been going at this for about 2 hours. Let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break, and we will return to open session at 11:10.
Self-heating meal? You rip the tab off and it cooks itself? It's ready to eat.
All right, welcome back. We are going to take up item 6.12, consideration of updated contract with the Lake County Resource Conservation District for the Lake County Fire Safe Council. I'm going to pass it on to Terry Logsdon, our Chief Climate Resiliency Officer.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Chair. Before you is an updated contract, long time coming, for the Lake County Fire Safe Council, which is a program of the Lake County Resource Conservation Districts, which you are aware that they are an independent special district considered a local government here in Lake County. And as Lori, who is the program director, is that what your title is, for the Lake County, or the staff, for the Fire Safe Coordinator for the Fire Safe Council? Yeah. The contract that she's been working under was initiated in 2009 after the consolidation of the East Lake and the West Lake Resource Conservation District. It became the Lake County Resource Conservation District. So again, before you is an updated contract that will reflect that the Lake County Fire Safe Council is a program of the Resource Conservation District.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Pyska.
I'll just add that the old contract that we've been working under is grossly out of date. And it took us a long time to get to this new contract because we were building up both the RCD and the Fire Safe Council so that they could stand up and effectively perform under this new contract. So there is one area on the first page that needs a little bit of updating, and I think Lloyd has some language there.
Yes, so in light of more recent updates received from staff regarding the fifth recital on page 1 of that agreement, your board may consider revising that paragraph to state, whereas in 2018, the Risk Reduction Authority, RRA, Joint Powers Agreement was established for the purpose of supporting the fire districts to enforce fire code safety measures and assisting the Board of Supervisors in facilitating resource sharing, communications, and cooperation among the various fire safe planning groups within the county, as a clarification from the previous draft.
Yeah, so that just kind of cleans up some of the language there and clarifies what needs to be clarified.
Because, as you recall, the Risk Reduction Authority, which the Fire Safe Council and the RCD have always participated in since its inception, and Lori was part of the initial group that started the RRA, which was the Lakeport Fire Protection District, North Shore Fire Protection District, and the county. And then it grew, and it's been amended many, many, many times. And rather than go through that whole history in a whereas, we just tightened it up.
Any further comments or questions?
No, I completely agree with that change.
Okay. Quick comment. It's kind of been a regular thing. Supervisor Pyska, you've made this happen with the addition of also Supervisor Simon to come back and do an annual report about the activities of the RRA and all related partners to the RRA. Since we are providing funding here and requesting basically the education and all the work that goes on, I don't want to change it, but at the same time, I don't see a reporting requirement, and I feel like I just want to ask that we continue those annual reports, mixing it in, not making it separate. But since that's been kind of a habit of the last, I want to say 3 years at least to do so, since there's money being provided to request certain responsibilities be provided by the RCD, that I would say be a part of the annual report that typically has been occurring with the RRA reporting.
That makes sense. I'm looking to see if there is a good section under Exhibit B, because they have to do an annual financial report, that it can be tied to that.
If we had to change the language, that's where it would be, but I think with knowledge that it will be part of the RRA presentation, not specifically to this one, we can just incorporate it naturally into the RRA presentation, so it's not separate, like Supervisor Sabati is saying.
Okay.
And I'm good with just concurrence from the rest of the board that that is something that we would like to see.
Yes.
Other than that, that was my only comment on this, this item.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and open it up for the public. Anyone wish to speak on this item? And I'm looking for Zoom, but I don't have it. I do see a hand up. If you can please call the name. I can't see the name. Oh,
Kristen Murphy.
Kristen Murphy.
Hi there. I'm Kristen Murphy. I work with Lori with the Fire Safe Council as well as with the Resource Conservation District. I really appreciate your comments on the reporting. 2.5 does specifically address that. We are planning to submit annually a quarterly report detailing the hours utilized, activities, and services rendered. So we are thinking that that would be more than just a financial reporting. Additionally, under stipulation 4, we also wanted to make sure that we heard from the county and we received feedback on the work that Lori and the new executive director will be doing, which is why we have 4.2, and the county shall provide constructive feedback to the contractor on the performance of the scope of services no less than annually. So I do hope that that both of those two items in the contract kind of fulfill your comments on wanting to have a report there.
Appreciate the comments. I saw that more as an internal financial compliance type of reporting, but I appreciate the comments nonetheless. Are there any other public comments? I see no hands on Zoom and no one coming up in the chamber, and so bringing it back to the board for action.
I move that we approve the, approve the updated contract with the Lake County Resource Conservation District for the Lake County Fire Safe Council as amended, and authorize the board chair to sign. Yes?
Yes, just as a note, the signature field, at least on the agreement, has the county administrative officer's reference. So if your board wishes to do so, it could authorize, as part of the motion, to authorize the county administrative officer to sign.
Okay, so I'll amend my motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to move on to our 10 a.m. item, 6.13, consideration of letter of opposition to AB 2882, which proposes changes to the Community Corrections Partnership, and B, consideration of letter of opposition to SB 1057, which proposes changes to the Juvenile Justice Coordinating Council. And we have our Chief Probation Officer, Wendy Montfrance.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is this on?
Yes.
Looks like it is. First of all, I would like you to know that Supervisor Green did ask that this be put over to a different week, and so if you would like us to come back at a different time with this, I'm happy to do so.
Can you please provide us a little bit of a summary as to why?
One, it was a busy agenda. I think the 2-hour Procapalooza kind of bore that out. Two, I did ask, you know, clearly probation has brought this forward and has a proposed action, but the bills that are the subject of this two pieces of legislation do potentially have interests of other departments, including the DA's office, behavioral health, public defender, what have you. So I don't think they've necessarily had the opportunity to review these bills for comment. So, and also we also have a lobbying firm. So I just thought there were some drill down things that we didn't necessarily need to spend a lot of time drilling down today on. But Director Montfrance seems willing to go forward with this item as is, so it's really up to the board's discretion.
Thank you very much for that. I'm willing to keep moving forward and having a discussion today. What are everyone else's thoughts? I see one nod.
Yeah, I'm prepared to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have consensus to go ahead and keep moving forward with the discussion. Please introduce the item.
Okay, thank you. AB 2882 was introduced by the Honorable Assemblyman Kevin McCarthy, which proposes to enact major changes to the funding and coordination of local adult rehabilitation efforts. Specifically, it would amend the composition of the Local Community Corrections Partnership, CCP, and the CCP Executive Committee. It would specify new plan development and processing of requirements at the local level, and it would add considerable new CCP data collection and reporting requirements. SB 1057, which was introduced by Honorable State Senator Carolyn Menjivar, would repurpose and reprioritize funding the probation department relies on to provide necessary services to youth and families in Lake County who have contact with the justice system. It would change the composition of the Juvenile Justice Coordinating Council and change the multi-agency juvenile justice plan. Particularly in rural counties, chief probation officers and county probation departments play a crucial coordination role, ensuring system-involved youth and individuals have the services and support they need to promote the best possible outcomes. AB 2882 and SB 1057 have the potential to disrupt necessary services to Lake County and make our communities less safe. If both are approved as written, maintaining well-coordinated services and continuity of care would become much more difficult. For the reasons described in the letters that I have provided, I would ask that your board oppose AB 2882 and SB 1057. The letters were reviewed by Matthew Rothstein, your Chief Deputy County Administrative Officer and Legislative Coordinator, and he found an opposed position would be consistent with previous board action on 2023's AB 702.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, I will just say that I absolutely support approving these letters and moving forward. I know that probation has been doing some great work, and let's not throw a wrench in the wheel. Let's make sure that we keep moving forward.
Thank you.
Supervisor Green?
I wonder if you could just elaborate. You know, I know this is written in good faith, but what in these bills would potentially impede probation? As far as the Juvenile Justice Coordinating Council, I think the only substantive change would be add 2 seats, one for behavioral health. No?
No.
All right. Can you tell me what exactly the burden would be imposed by these bills?
One of the main changes with SB 1057 would change the funding to the probation department. It specifically says that funding could not go to a local law enforcement agency, which probation is. So it would take the funding and move it to another agency to be determined, and that would disrupt the services. Probation is a leader in the community for collaborative efforts that help youth and families. Probation has programs that originate in our office, such as Family Wrap, School Resource Officers, Boys Council and Girls Circle, Tobacco Cessation Education, ACEs Overcomers, and Courage to Change. These programs would not be in Lake County if probation wasn't the driver of the program.
Well, if I can just follow up then, the only hammer in this bill would withdraw funding from counties that don't have juvenile justice coordinating councils. In that we do, I'm not seeing anything in this bill that would apply or put your funding at risk. You know, we have a juvenile justice coordinating council. This appears to be a bill designed to get those counties that are not as far along, you know, add a little bit of a stick to the carrots. Maybe I'm misreading the bill, but because we have a juvenile justice coordinating council, I don't see anything in this bill that would put our funding at risk. Am I mistaken?
That is not my reading of it and our organization. In addition, though, it also changes the composition of the coordinating council to increase the number of community members, which would require us to add 5 community members, which historically in this county has been, on other commissions like the Juvenile Justice Commission, impossible to find community members to join. And if we couldn't have the number of members that it requires, we would be in non-compliance with the law, the new law as written.
And I totally agree that could be problematic, and yet many of our other advisory committees and councils do have that community representative aspect, IHSS, BHAB, any number of them. So I realize and definitely appreciate this would complicate efforts to populate that council. But we don't have a huge amount of community representation now on that council.
On our Juvenile Justice Coordinating Committee, we do. We have, currently we have 12 members, and of that, 3 are community members straight, and then there's the other 9 positions that are required by statute.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and open this up for any public comment. Anyone wish to speak on this item, please come on up to the microphone.
Hello, Elise Jones, Director of Behavioral Health. I appreciate Director or Chief Monfrance for bringing this forward. I have had a chance to review the proposed changes and support probation's position in opposition to this. I think that having worked in this county with probation for many years, I think it's not broken, and I don't think that things that aren't broken need to be fixed. So thank you for bringing this forward, and you have behavioral health support.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on this item? Come on up.
I'm going to support the probation's position and ask that we do send a letter of opposition on this issue.
Thank you for your comment. Is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak on this item? All right, I see no hands and no one else getting up in the chamber, so I'll bring it back to the board for action.
It's a two-step. I'm going to move to approve the letter of opposition to AB 288T2, which proposes changes to the Community Corrections Partnership.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Secondly, I move to approve the letter of opposition to Senate Bill 1057, which proposes changes to the Juvenile Justice Coordinating Council.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll move on to our 6:14, 11 a.m. item. Sitting as the Lake County Sanitation District Board of Directors, consideration of entering into a land lease agreement between the Lake County Sanitation District and the Lake County Rodeo Association for use of a portion of APN 003046-30 and 003-046-72. Director Harder, good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, members of the board. What you have for your consideration today, gosh, that doesn't even sound like it's on, is a lease agreement between the Lake County State Sanitation District and the Lake County Rodeo Association. As you may recall, we began discussions with them last fall. They were interested. They had reached out looking for a new location, asked if we had some property which could be possibly utilized for that. Met with them on site numerous occasions out at our Northwest Treatment Plant. We've got about 1,200 acres, just under 1,200 acres out there. A lot of it was originally used for land application of treated effluent. Since the installation of the Geysers pipeline, that's no longer what it's being used for. There's a small portion that we intend to continue to use as a backup if we need to do land application again. But the 80 acres that's under consideration for this lease location is not, we don't anticipate using it for that. It's been used for cattle grazing for the last 20 years. Land application of wastewater hasn't happened since around 2000. So the board expressed support for a potential lease between the Rodeo Association and the Sanitation District. So we went back to the drawing board, worked up a lease. It's been reviewed by County Council, CAO, and the Rodeo Association, and then back for your consideration today.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone from the Rodeo Association that wishes to speak on this? Okay.
We have two members here, but
I thought I'd ask, since we're talking about you. Anyone wish to make a comment? Supervisor Green.
Yeah, thank you. I did email you shortly, and I saw the response. Just the lease doesn't really cover ingress and egress. It's kind of a landlocked parcel, and so the access to the property is going to come off Wayland Way, pretty close to where our emergency shelter is. So I don't see anything specific to the roadways or ingress and egress in this contract, and I know the rodeo board intends to pull a use permit application somewhere down the road. But in the meantime, I anticipate there will be at least some temporary uses proposed for this. So absent any information about the current condition of what is a dirt roadway and the level of traffic anticipated for those special events, it's just more of a question, not a comment. as to whether ingress and egress is better addressed through this contract, the preliminary contract, as the use permit process proceeds, or if we can just punt because there's nothing in the current contract that describes ingress and egress or the potential for temporary events.
I think improvements to the ingress and egress and anything regarding temporary events is certainly more the purview of CDD and any use permit process. Ingress and egress, I can consult with County Council after this, and if an amendment is warranted to the lease that covers that specifically so it's not left out, I think we can work something out.
Okay. Vice Chair Crandall?
Oh, no, it is community development that deals with that. I don't feel like we need to put it in the contract for the lease.
Okay. No further comments or questions. I know that I appreciate the potential vision of rodeo being here in Lake County. I believe the next upcoming one will be in Potter Valley. So would love to see that right here in the Lakeport area. I think that would be fantastic. So looking forward to our decision today. Let's open it up for public comment. Keep thinking I have Zoom on. I see no hands in Zoom, and come on up.
Hi again. My name's Helen Owen. I didn't mention that before. Actually, I had the honor of serving on this board for 5 years, some years back. At that time, we added the mutton bustin', which is a crowd favorite, where the sheep get to torture the kids. We actually, I think that this is an important venue for keeping our heritage alive, and it's part of our culture. It's a great sport for our kids. Lake County does really well in the rodeo arena. Throughout, we have the Mitten Boy that's now, we're looking forward to seeing him on the big screen at the NFR. This is something I think we really need to support, and I'm totally behind and hope that you pass this.
Thank you for your comment. I see no further comments in the chamber and still no hands in the Zoom room, so I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Just want to check with County Council real quick that the concern I stated, that there is no express provision for access to the property, that the lease as proposed is executable.
Yes, and to note, there is a reference under the terms and conditions under Section 8.2 where it does reserve the right to the district to enter upon the subject property at any time for its operational needs. That's the only reference that I saw there as far as access is concerned by the district to the property.
All right, thank you. With that, I move to approve a land lease agreement between the Lake County Sanitation District and the Lake County Rodeo Association for use of a portion of APNs 003-046-30 and 003-046-72, and authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's see here. If you don't mind, we're going to go back to some of the items that we pulled. Let's start with 512. Adopt resolution amending resolution number 2023-117, establishing position allocations for fiscal year 23-24, budget unit 2702 planning, to delete one cannabis program manager and add one senior planner allocation. I do know that there was a request that if this is pulled, that we move this to a different agenda item, as Director Turner is not available to speak on this item at this moment.
Her hands up.
Oh, she has made it. I did not expect that. So it looks like she's here. So let's go ahead and start this item. I want to pass it on to Supervisor Green. You pulled this item.
Yeah, thank you. I received a request from a constituent to pull this. I don't have any actual concerns on this item, but I want to make sure the public has the opportunity to comment.
Okay. And Director Turner, would you like to introduce the item, summarize?
Actually, I think it would be better if I'm just available for questions, please.
Okay. Thank you so much for being available. If we can open it up for public comment, if you can please approach the microphone and let us know either your question, comment, or concerns.
Good morning, Honorable Board. My name is Margot Kambara, and for your consideration, please, on this agenda item, I believe we have another alternative available to us. I present it in two parts, A and B. Instead of reallocating the program, Cannabis Program Manager as a senior planner, consider reallocating that resource as a hydrologist reporting to the Water Resources Department. This satisfies some key goals for the county, and that is providing independent water analysis when it comes to cannabis permit applications. Currently, those applications, currently, the applicant, the permit applicant, pays for the hydrologist report to support his or her application for the cannabis permit. There's a conflict of interest there. What I suggest is that the county fund a qualified hydrologist reporting into the Department of Water Resources who is available, this resource would be available to write up the hydrology report for the applicant's proposed project. In addition, if if budget is a concern, again, the fee to the cannabis applicant, permit applicant, that can be funneled or can be charged in addition to cover the hydrologist's time. Now, if it turns out that timing is an issue, budget-wise, instead of doing the reallocation perhaps in this fiscal year, please consider doing it in a future fiscal year, perhaps next fiscal year, because the need is dire. This hydrologist could also provide expertise in other matters, water-related, for the county. And since we are in a persistent drought state, it would be very helpful to have that resource who is independent available to the county. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much for your comment. I do want to say, and please, Director Turner, correct me if I'm wrong, but we did have, I believe we might still have a third party that we had contracted with that was reviewing all the hydrology reports. So yes, while the applicant was hiring a specific hydrologist or somebody who can create a hydrology report, those were being reviewed by professional hydrologists through LACO. Is that still the case, or is that done internally, Director Turner?
Thank you. That was the case for quite a while, but then the hydrologist left LACO's service. We have been having discussions in the department regarding hiring a third-party hydrologist as well as a third-party archaeologist to address those loyalty considerations that Ms. Kambara expressed. And we'd be happy to bring that to the board at a future agenda date. However, it's important in the planning division that we take a look at not just our demand for cannabis processing, but rather we have to look more holistically as far as our staff resources go. And that's why we requested a senior planner, is because we have projects like MAHA and our Lake County 2050 and a number of ongoing bridge repairs. And there are just so many other projects that impact planning and require an experienced planner that we feel comfortable with the way we have integrated processing cannabis projects within our existing staff at this time. So I do appreciate Ms. Kambara's comments, and we are actually taking that already into consideration, but not with this position allocation.
Thank you very much, Director Turner. My personal opinion is it's difficult to find hydrologists, and to be able to keep hydrologists, and using a third party while hiring a senior planner that has so much more bandwidth to work on different projects, I think is a better way to go, and I support what is being requested of us to consider today from Director Turner. But appreciate the comment. Hydrology is very important for multiple reasons. Supervisor Green?
Yeah, I also support the resolution as proposed. I did want to speak to the speaker's comments. Obviously, anything can be accused of bias. I think you used the term conflict of interest. Perception is everything, but and I've seen projects where hydrologists were attacked as being biased. But why stop there? We also have cultural resource studies. I haven't heard those being stood up and being accused of bias. Biological studies, what have you. The free market is a good thing, and it supports our, not just our cannabis applicants, but all of our land use applicants in providing the information that is required as part of our use permit process. If there's something defective in those reports, or if there's some smoking gun that indicates some actual bias, we have the public hearing process where those concerns can be aired. The only hesitation I have about this item is that it basically sunsets the cannabis permit program, at least in terms of staffing allocations. But as Director Turner pointed out, capacity in CDD has increased such that really the senior planner position is going to be critical, not just to the ongoing review of our cannabis projects, but also some non-cannabis projects that are coming down the pipeline. So I know that's probably not a satisfactory answer, but that's why I'm going to move ahead and support this today.
All right, thank you for your comment. I will express my one concern that I did speak with Director Turner about. It's not something that's going to stop today, but just a continuing conversation. There is a certain reliance from the Planning Division on general funds. This does increase, not a whole lot. I think it was $3,000–4,000 a year overall, based on the difference of pay between a cannabis program manager and a senior planner. And so that was just a concern to me, but I think those discussions on how to alleviate the reliance on general funds is something to be continued and at a different time than today, but just wanted to at least express that and appreciate the conversation I had with Director Turner yesterday. Let's make sure that we got all public comments on this item. Please come on up if you have a comment.
Hello, Commissioners. John Hess. I'm Moak Simon's appointee to the Planning Commission, and I fully support this allocation for a senior planner. I've lived the cannabis application world up close and personal, and Director Turner's right. The department really has evolved, and this seems like an appropriate time to make sure that we have that increased bandwidth, as Mr. Green referred to. Fully supported.
Thank you for your comment. And we have someone on Zoom as well. Donna Makowitz.
Good morning, Board. Donna Makowitz, Red Bed Audubon. I support all of Director Turner's recommendations that in the future we go for archaeological, and I see a need now for hydrologists, as you see in like the upcoming planning documents and initial studies. There's even an error reported on the watershed. I just think that having an on-site hydrologist would eliminate these errors that we're seeing in reports. And thank you for letting me voice my concerns.
Thank you for your comment. I see no further hands up in Zoom and no one else getting up in the chamber, so I'll bring it back to the board for action.
I'll offer the resolution.
Resolution has been offered.
Supervisor Simon?
Yes.
Supervisor Crandall?
Yes.
Supervisor Green?
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska?
Yes.
And Supervisor Sabatier?
Aye. Motion carries. All right. 5.20 is the next one on my list. A, approve the purchase of 2024 Honda Pioneer 700-4 utility terrain vehicle for use by the search and rescue team, and B, authorize attached budget transfer, and C, authorize the sheriff or his designee to sign the purchase order. So I pulled the item just so that we can provide greater clarity that we are going with Motorsports of Ukiah, and that the overall cost that we are approving is for the $18,352.74. I had no further changes. If the sheriff wishes to speak on this item, doesn't look. All right, thank you very much. Any other comments or questions regarding this? All right, let's open it up for the public. Anyone wish to speak on this item? I see no hands in the Zoom room and no one getting up, and so looking for action.
I move that we approve the purchase of a 2024 Honda Pioneer 700-4 utility terrain vehicle for use by the search and rescue team. Can I do them all together, or do you want them separate?
Your board may combine A and C together with the addition of, under A, of Motorsports of Ukiah being selected in the amount of $18,352.74. And under C, authorize the sheriff or his designee to sign the purchase order.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I move to authorize the attached budget transfer.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you very much. We are on item, I'm going to look to see who's in the room right now. Let's go ahead and take up 7.5. Consideration of memorandum of understanding between Lake County Social Services Department and Behavioral Health Department for a short-term loan of $1 million from 1991 realignment funds. And Director Jones is making her way.
Good afternoon. Hello. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Board. As was previously discussed with the Board, Behavioral Health has borrowed $3 million from General Fund, and in order to draw down a loan of $1 million from Department of Social Services, we've drafted a memorandum of understanding between our departments to clarify those terms. I do want to state that the version that's uploaded to the agenda does not, has not been fully approved as to form, so I'm hoping council will advise as to whether or not there are any changes that I'm not aware of. So that's what I have.
Thank you very much. County Council?
Our office approves as to form. We've had a chance to review the MOU, and we do approve it as to form.
Thank you.
That's a load of pressure off there. Any comments or questions regarding this MOU? Supervisor Green?
Just on page 3 on the signature line, would that need to be amended for Interim Director Carter?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. So there was one piece in here that just makes me a little, not nervous, but it's unknown. It stops with, it is a recital, so it's not necessarily binding, but at the same time it says, whereas the loan will be repaid in full by June 30th, 2025. I know that all of our expectations is that things will be resolved at the state level and that this loan will be repaid. I guess my question is, what happens if it's not possible? And this is an issue of behavioral health, obviously an issue with the state and behavioral health. The social services has been, for lack of a better term, saving those funds for other purposes in the future that may come up. We are in a situation with our budget at the state of California where one of the first things most likely to get cut is social services programs. That's being discussed. And I am remembering a voice in my head from the last conference I went to with CSAC with a supervisor from LA saying, in these times, the number one thing you want to make sure to keep supporting is your social services, because those who are already struggling are going to struggle that much more. So I'm not saying I don't want to do what we're doing, but, and I can't believe I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but I feel like we have to also say that general funds will be there to help social services with this million if this million can't be paid back by behavioral health, rather than making social services lose their million because they haven't spent their million, which they've had the chance to. So I see we are being approached by our interim director from social services, Mr. Carter, if you wish to speak on this.
So technically speaking from both hats, as Assistant County Administrative Officer and the interim Social Services Director, I do agree that from the ACAO side that yes, we can put something in that general fund would backfill if this is unable to be repaid to DSS. And from my DSS hat, we do need this repaid by June of 25 simply because of the financial situation at the state with CalWorks and all the different allocations that are coming. There may not, more realignment is needed sometimes to provide the services. So 1 year is probably the longest we can go with that. So yes, I agree with you.
Thank you for your comment.
Do we have any idea on when we're going to expect the funding? I'll take that as a no. So, I mean, this is why we have our reserves. This is why we're protecting our reserves. So this is what we have to do.
Thank you. I suppose the silver lining is that we hadn't really seen payments since March of 2023 up until a couple of months ago when we received some of the first payments. So thanks to sound financial stewardship at our department, we were able to have enough savings to sustain operations. And I also appreciate the solid financial stewardship at Department of Social Services that allows us to be in a position to loan money like this.
Yep. And just given the state of the state's budget, this is why we have our reserves, and this is why we need to keep them. And I don't think this is going to be the last time we have to backfill something.
Mr. Chair,
No, go
ahead. Just as regards any specific language to the MOU that would be added, I would defer to your and council's or guidance.
I'm not sure what the exact language would be, something like, whereas if behavioral health is unable to repay the loan by June 30th, 2025 due to state reimbursement issues, that the Board of Supervisors will consider using general fund, something along those lines, because I just feel like there's an end to this MOU that doesn't create where social services is not whole if we end up being at that date and nothing has changed. And I feel that we are responsible for all of our departments in ensuring that they remain whole and that we progress in the right way financially. I don't want to change what the MOU is. I just kind of want to alleviate some pressure on behavioral health to feel like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen if I can't fulfill this, and we need to be behind them.
Well, if we're getting to that point, I think we just come back and make that change. We have a month.
I was going to ask if there was some kind of motion that can be made outside of this saying that if that happens, admin's directed to bring something forward.
I think that we can have consensus on that.
That's what I'm asking County Council, though.
That can be done separate from the agreement via consensus direction to staff.
Completely agree.
Okay.
Yep.
So like 3 months prior to June 30th, 2025, in case that things have not unclogged in the pipeline of reimbursements, that we would be bringing this back for review and possible amendment to the MOU. Okay. Is that the consensus?
Well, yes, but I think it's important in a month we have that conversation with our budget, during budget hearings, to know what we need to be saving for.
Including the monthly report that we are receiving from behavioral health of where we stand and what's being paid out and so on and so forth. So, agreed. Okay. Anything more, Mr. Carter?
Unless the funding frees up, expect more to come.
Thank you for that. Let's go ahead and open it up for public comment on this item. I'm sorry, did you have anything else, Director Jones? Okay. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Anyone on Zoom? All right, I see no hands and no one getting up. Bringing it back for action.
Move to approve the memorandum of understanding as amended between the Lake County Social Services Department and Behavioral Health Department for a short-term loan of $1 million from 1991 realignment funds and authorize the department heads for behavioral health and social services to sign.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go back to 7.2. Consideration of rescission of urgency ordinance number 3113, amending urgency ordinance number 3110, prohibiting water hauling to commercial agricultural operations, including cannabis cultivation sites. Supervisor Green.
Yeah, thank you. This is very similar to an item this board heard 2 weeks ago when we rescinded the emergency drought proclamation. Two of the urgency ordinances that kind of hung their hat on the existence of the drought emergency expired by their own terms. The rescission motion is basically a housekeeping matter so that our board clerks, Granicus and what have you, have some ability to note that the ordinance in question here is expired.
All right. Any Supervisor Pyska?
I just want to bring up, again, the reasons why we worked on this. The biggest concern in my district was having all these water haulers on the road, impacting the road. We have a lot of damage from, particularly on Bottle Rock Road, that I think was increased by the amount of water haulers that were going every day, every hour. Additionally, there were concerns from CHP because the water trucks were sloshing water on the road and making really wet and dangerous conditions. So those are the two reasons that I helped with this, because those are not drought related, but they do need to be considered at some point.
I appreciate those comments. I actually agree. A lot of what we witnessed in this county in recent years, but just like legal and illegal cannabis cultivation, it's entirely possible you saw a big chunk of illegal water hauling going on to some of those illegal cultivation sites. In the staff report, I did note that I did reach out. There's only 3 licensed water haulers in the county. None of them currently serve any type of agricultural operation, including cannabis. One of them barely works in Lake County. He's mainly down in Napa County. So if we want to address those problems that have been observed, I fully agree. But the state's regulation of potable water haulers is what it is. If we're lacking in enforcement, I think it's fair to say the state lacks some enforcement capacity too. But I think if I were to not speak for the other supervisors, but just my own understanding of what's happening out in the community, illegal water hauling is definitely a thing, but I don't think this urgency ordinance managed to hit the target. And regardless, when we rescinded the emergency proc, we effectively rescinded this ordinance. So open to the conversation looking forward. All things water are going to be important, but I think it's appropriate for this particular ordinance to go away.
Vice Chair?
Yeah, another aspect when this was initialized was some places in the district that I represent where there was no permitted cannabis grows whatsoever, and there were water haulers going there. Now, one could say that it was for other reasons. However, it was obvious that this was for cannabis at the time. So that's one of the other drivers that I know this came to this dais as well. So I just wanted to highlight that because my colleague mentioned something else about what was another reason to bring it forward, and that was a big deal. So they were spilling it on a dirt road in Double Eagle Ranch and things like that, so sloshing everywhere, and there's no cannabis grows out there that were permitted. So, I mean, there was some on the docket, but I don't know if they've ever, still moved forward. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Now, my hopes and desires is as we keep progressing in the conversation about a drought management plan, that this can definitely be something to think about, because this is something that's going to pop up every time we have a drought, because there's going to be real needs for domestic water needs, but we need to figure out how to manage that in a safe way and an appropriate way as well. Supervisor Green, did you still have something to say?
Yeah, and just for the board's information, under the cannabis regs, water haulers are permitted in emergency situations. So it may seem ironic that water haulers would be allowed during a drought emergency. As it turns out, that's the only time they're allowed for state license cultivation. So it is what it is. It may not seem like a perfect solution, but if you're growing crops and you need water, whether you're a traditional grower or a cannabis grower, water haulers do provide a useful service during a drought emergency. But suffice to say, it's really hard to track them. And I think, as the board has stated, the majority of what we witnessed had nothing to do with legal cannabis cultivation or legal water hauling.
And I believe that one of the amendments stated that emergency did not fit within the drought. That emergency was more like a broken pipe or something along those lines. Because when you have a 4-year drought, it's not really an emergency that today you realize you don't have water. So, but anyways, happy to clean up our situation and rescind this officially. Let's open it up for public comment. Please come on up.
I guess it's afternoon. Good afternoon, supervisors. My name is Tom Lasik. I'm in District 4. I live about 2.5 miles of public county-maintained dirt road and another 2 miles of private dirt road. I'm surrounded by cannabis growers on both my north and south property lines and elsewhere in my area. We did notice a reduction in the number of water trucks careening down Highland Springs Road when the ordinance was put into place. And so I empathize and recognize the same issues that Supervisors Pyska and Campbell have already reiterated. I would also like to point out that for legal cannabis growers, technically, they don't need water trucks, because they have submitted to the county through their hydrology reports, their well reports, their property management plan, their water usage plan, et cetera, that they have plenty of water on site to grow whatever it is they plan to grow. Now, are emergencies accepted like a broken well pump or a split tank? I understand. But technically, they don't need the water, because they've already shown to the county in writing with hydrology reports that they paid for with their own money that they don't need it. So if their water trucks are going to, whether it's legal or illegal cannabis growers, I don't think if this is rescinded because the emergency drought is being lifted, and that's a technicality, something needs to be put in its place, because we did notice a reduction when the ordinance was there. Highland Springs Road, where we live, goes through the county park and the county preserve. There are no speed limit signs. There are no traffic signs. Water gets sloshed. And a lot of the people, because it is so remote, that are cannabis growers actually don't live there. So if it's a private road, it's up to us that actually do live on these roads to try to fix the chuck holes and the broken shoulders and things like that. I've already spent $20,000 of my own money this year fixing collapsed shoulders on our private road. And my other neighbors can't afford it, and I can barely afford it. So if you're going to remove this, please put something in place that protects the people that actually have to live there. And again, technically, they shouldn't have a need for water haulers. And I would suggest that the cannabis ordinance specifically in the section for prohibitive items include water truck deliveries except in emergencies. And emergency would include things that are infrastructure related, like busted pipe, broken well, split tank.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Board of Supervisors. Rescinding Ordinance 3113 as a housekeeping measure makes sense, After all, the board lifted the emergency drought declaration, rendering Ordinance 3113 irrelevant. Ordinance 3113 has a feature that reflects the board's regard for a Vision 2028 value, protecting the well-being of residents. Please consider retaining this feature in another ordinance or policy. The feature of interest is prohibiting commercial cannabis growers from using hauled water. Serious conditions led to the passage of Ordinance 3113. Ideally, water use issues such as water hauling are addressed in a comprehensive groundwater management policy, including drought management. Lake County's efforts to update its general plan and local area plans presents an opportunity for Lake County to declare its values and vision for future growth through actions designed to realize that vision. Actions to preserve groundwater are more effective when executed in a comprehensive policy rather than piecemeal in ordinances and regulations. Now is a time to revisit groundwater management policy. Policy on water hauling for agricultural use should reflect the county's priorities and vision for Lake County, the Lake County we wish for ourselves, our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Agriculture's need, including cannabis cultivations, for water hauling indicates that areas in the county don't have adequate water supply. Taking water from one part of the county to another as a long-term solution affects groundwater supply sustainability. Cannabis is a water-intensive crop, and its long-term effect on the aquifer is not known. Lake County doesn't have data to support the claim that Lake County aquifers and wells will continue to recharge at current rates when subject to repeated great water demand. For better groundwater management, the county can build on the general plan and local area plans update efforts. Those efforts can include collecting data on water usage, wells, and aquifers. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for your comment. I see no hands up in Zoom and nobody else getting up in the chamber, so I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Further, Chair, I move to rescind urgency ordinance number 3113.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, let's go on to 7.3, consideration of an agreement for tree survey services between the County of Lake and Tetra Tech, Inc. in the not-to-exceed amount of $201,359.72. Mr. Rothstein.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. Matthew Rothstein, Chief Deputy County Administrative Officer. You will recall your board has declared pervasive tree mortality a local emergency and among your 2024 legislative priorities. We're also deeply grateful that State Senate President pro tempore Mike McGuire was able to secure a $1 million state legislative allocation to support mitigation of tree mortality in Lake County. Major mitigation activities are expected to be supported by California Disaster Assistance Act funding, which typically requires a 25% local match. In the interest of maximizing the work that can be done within county resource limitations, your board authorized submittal of a letter to California Office of Emergency Services Director Nancy Ward, requesting the local match requirement be waived. Additionally, upward of 80% of trees that could affect county roadways and evacuation routes are rooted in private property. This necessitates Cal OES approving CDAA eligibility for tree removal on private property. To provide further information needed to support these determinations, Cal OES requested that the county undertake a pre-assessment. And the scope of the agreement before your board today covers that pre-assessment process and has been reviewed by Cal OES staff. Pre-assessment work will include surveying of trees rooted in public rights of way and also private property by a team including a qualified arborist. Right of entry forms will be gathered from a sample of property owners in the initial priority area, which encompasses Cobb communities, as well as areas around Anderson Springs, Middletown, and Hidden Valley Lake. The pre-assessment is expected to be completed over approximately 2 months' time, which is roughly 58 days. And as referenced in the memo to your board, the agreement leverages a state master service agreement. Tetra Tech ranked #1 in the state's competitive process. And therefore, and this is a change to the recommended action, therefore, pursuant to section 2-38.4 of the Lake County Code, cooperative purchases, staff recommends your board waive the competitive bidding process. And further, staff recommends you approve the agreement between the County of Lake and Tetra Tech for tree survey services in the not-to-exceed amount of $201,349.72 and authorize the chair to sign. And Nicole Pagano of Tetra Tech is available in Zoom should your board have any questions.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Pyska?
Well, here we are 2 years after we declared our emergency and looking at some first real action. So I really just want to give my deep appreciation to staff for continuing to follow this and working with the state, and of course for Senator McGuire for his funding. I want to make sure that it's clear this 200,000 is coming out of that million.
Yes. Okay. And it is budgeted under Budget Unit 1012.
Right. Okay. So I hope that we can finally start to get some action with this project that we've been waiting for a really long time to get underway.
Any further comments or questions?
No, just want to thank the staff and everybody for getting in here, and obviously Supervisor Pyska's hard work to continue this. So 2 years ago, as she said, we did the tree mortality declaration, and so yeah, happy to have this conversation today.
Oh, I just want to, one other comment is, it's not just a fire threat. We've experienced these trees coming down during the storms, the last 2 winters. We've had a lot of storms coming down, impacting roads and public health. So it is a year-round issue for us, and we've really got to get this work off the ground.
Okay, thank you very much. If there's nothing further, let's go ahead and open it up for public. Anyone wish to speak on this item? I see no hands on Zoom. Please come on up to the podium.
Joan Moss. I live on Wildcat Road, and I wrote a number of complaints to PG&E. A lot of people on Wildcat handed in complaints. I never heard about it, the result of the complaints, and there are more trees that have gone down. And I want to point out that the reason the trees are dying is because of lack of water, and that there is vineyard growing nearby. There are more legal cannabis grows coming up, and I filed an appeal on my will, but I couldn't further it because it would cost $1,000, and I did not have $1,000. So I'm still working on the complaints, but I'd like to know how PG&E is involved, and I'd like to know who's responsible for the lack of water. Is it Mother Nature? Is it the vineyard growers? Is it the cannabis growers? The reason that the trees are dying is because of a lack of water. And whose responsibility is that? And I never heard a thing from my complaint. So I'm taking it a little bit farther. Thank you. But I can't spend my own private money on complaints that I was guaranteed would be responded to. Thank you. Joan Moss.
So first of all, this has nothing to do with PG&E. This is going to be a county program that is going to operate under Cal OES and state disaster funds. The program can only address dead and dying trees that have been approved or certified by an arborist to fall in county roads. The reason why we need this contract is because some of the trees are rooted on private property and outside of the county right-of-way, but they will, however, fall on the county road. So it is only for dead and dying trees. It has nothing to do with PG&E. That's a separate issue. If you want to talk to PG&E and have those complaints go there about the tree work they're doing, it is not the same project. This is only for the dead and dying trees caused by the drought and by the beetles. And each tree has to individually be surveyed and certified and marked with GPS. And it's a very tightly run program. And that's all this is. This is the survey to figure out how many trees we have and how to get those right of entry on private property to get the work accomplished. So it's nothing to do with PG&E.
I would request that you follow up with Supervisor Pyska to, with any further questions at this moment in time. You've received an answer to your comment that this is not PG&E related, and we can go on and on as to what is the culprit for the loss of water, but that drought is the easy one to say that it has impact universally for everything, including our people, our livestock, our gardens, our farms, and our trees. So, any further comments? I see none, so I'm going to bring it back to the board for action with, just want to check in with County Council for the appropriate language. I appreciate Mr. Rothstein for providing that, just double checking.
Yes, so your board may move to waive the competitive bidding process pursuant to Lake County Code Section 2-38.4 as it relates to this proposed agreement.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And let's do the agreement because that was just a waiving, right? Yeah.
Do we have to amend the motion for the agreement?
The motion, as it's stated on the staff report, should suffice.
Oh, I got the wrong one.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agreement for tree services between the County of Lake and Tetra Tech, Inc. in the not-to-exceed amount of $201,359.72 and authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Consideration of the following advisory board appointment, Lower Lake Waterworks District 1 Board of Directors. We have one applicant. Any comments?
Nope.
Questions? Open it up for the public. Anyone wish to speak on this item? I see no hands in Zoom, no one getting up in the chamber. Bringing it back to the board for action.
I move to appoint to the Lower Lake Water District public member Christine Grolton. I'm going to mess her name up. Grolton. Public member.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. We are trying to rush to our 12:30 deadline so we can take a lunch and return to closed session at 1:30. Thank you, CAO Parker, for extending the opportunity for our lunch. Please.
Mr. Harder is on Zoom.
Okay.
For
Let's
item
go ahead and take up 7.6. Sitting as the Lake County Sanitation District Board of Directors, consideration of appointment of an ad hoc committee to address contracts and topics related to the geothermal industry. Director Harder.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. What you have before you today is a request that the board appoint an ad hoc committee to deal with matters related to our geothermal partners. We work pretty integrally with Calpine, Northern California Power Association, Yolo County Water Conservation District and Flood Control District, as well as the Clear Lake Oaks County Waterworks District. All of those four are partners in the effluent pipeline that heads up to the geysers. Some of the other current issues are also the geysers air monitoring program. So we've got a joint operating agreement between the three partners that run the Southeast Geysers Effluent Pipeline. And that is, expires December of 2026. And so we've been working on revisions to that, drafts and update to that, provided it to the two relevant board members. And retired County Counsel Anita Grant has also taken a review of it and provided some feedback. One of her comments was that we formally form an ad hoc committee to deal with the renewal of that joint operating agreement as well as other related issues such as GAM.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Pyska.
Yeah, this is a way for us to, it's a different committee. That's these issues have been coming up, and Supervisor Simon and I have been kind of unofficially talking these out, and the next step is to create this ad hoc committee so that we can really get into the details and make sure that we're on top of these contracts and renewals and everything else that needs to be worked out in the short term.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement, obviously, of the ad hoc committee. I think it was a good suggestion that was presented. So glad we're having the discussion today and willing to serve on the ad hoc committee as we work and bring it back to the board.
Supervisor Green.
And I apologize, just to clarify from the other geothermal committee we appointed in January, apples and oranges?
It's different.
Similar characters around the table, but different reason for coming together and meeting.
No, the geothermal advisory, that is a community committee. There's members from the community that represent on that one, and it's a.
Will they be looped in during
No,
this process?
No.
This is an internal negotiation.
Yes.
Is that what you were planning? Okay, sorry to steal your comment. I think it only makes sense that those who already represent the Board of Supervisors on the Geothermal Ad Hoc Committee currently, because of their knowledge of what is happening up at Calpine and the relationship with Calpine, would be the appropriate members to appoint to this new ad hoc committee to address the contracts and negotiate prior to bringing it to the Board of Supervisors. I see no further comments, so let's open it up for public comment. Please come on up.
Joan Moss. There is a essay I wrote. It's called Froth Monsters. And this is about the health effects and the water shortage and the effects on the water by the geothermal industry and by the pipeline.
So this is about
The amount of
this is about the
earthquakes
appointment.
because of the pipeline
Joan,
has
this
been
discussion is related to appointment to an ad hoc committee, not
Yeah,
a discussion
I'm
about
very
the pipeline.
interested in this subject.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I'm going to say. And it's very controversial, and the facts have not been brought forth. I am bringing them forth. Thank you. To the committee or to the supervisors. Thank you.
Thank you. I see no hands in Zoom and no one else getting up in the chambers and bringing it back to the board for action to create this committee.
You want to do it?
No, go ahead.
Go
I was
ahead.
just,
Okay. I move that we appoint myself and Supervisor Simon to serve on an ad hoc committee to work with the relevant departments on issues related to the county relationship with the geothermal industry.
And members of the board, if your board wishes to do so, your board may also identify the specific departments who would be designated members of this ad hoc committee as well.
Along with special districts, air quality, admin. Do we need community development?
County council.
County council? I don't know if we need community development.
No, because it's a negotiation,
Yeah, okay, that's,
not land use.
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I believe that other than calendars and our item 7.7, that we have completed everything else.
Except for, I'm sorry, Chair, 5.23.
5.23 is pushed to a different date, at least according to Mr. Carter. Did I pull the wrong item? No, that is the right item. So that will come back in a different time after it's been reviewed. If we can do calendars in less than 5 minutes, that would be fantastic.
Here we go.
I'm not doing one. I just won't do it.
I'll go, board meeting today, finishing up. It's going to be a long one, it looks like. So tomorrow, are we saying tomorrow the 15th?
That was the 8th.
Yeah, don't have anything in the morning. Thought I was going to have LTA after our conversation earlier.
Right, that's right.
Won't have much on the calendar this week, obviously moving right into it. Mother's Day this weekend, and then back here next week to attend the Board of Supervisors meeting. CAO on Friday.
Supervisor Green?
Thursday, Behavioral Health Advisory Board here in Lakeport. Well, I don't think I'll make city council tonight. We'll see how it goes. And again, Friday's event at Community Park here in Lakeport was powerful, and I'm looking forward to future events.
Thank you. Vice Chair?
So I'll just give a report out on a couple things. $700,000 for the Department of Water Resources for the Lake Pillsbury study, and expansion of the Berryessa Snow Mountain Monument has been signed by President Biden last week and is now Moloch Loyuk. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Pyska?
Last week, I was at a 2-day biomass symposium, and Supervisor Crandall did join me for the second day. There's a lot going on in that space. It was really great that we were able to attend with some staff. Tomorrow, I have my NACO ELU monthly conference call, and then Thursday, there's a Terra burn in Cobb. I have Fire Safe Council, Resilient Counties Advisory Committee. I have a meeting with the constituent in Kelseyville, and then the Mediterranean Oak Borer Town Hall at night. Friday, I was trying to make the opioid settlement meeting, but I also have tree mortality, and we have the special RRA meeting. And then Saturday and Sunday, there are bike races at Six Sigma. And Monday, I just have my meeting with CAO Parker, and that's it.
Thank you very much. So I don't have access to my email at this moment in time, so I'm just going to say I will be there Friday since it's in the city of Clear Lake for the opioid settlement. I am working with staff to try to get a Zoom access specifically for our PHO who wants to take part and has not been able to take part in the conversation. She will be the only one to be able to access that, but I think the addition of our PHO to that conversation will be good. There are, just to put it out there right now, there's a lot of conclusions that are happening at this month and early next month. Please be prepared to show your support to all of those that are graduating. I know that I have it on my calendar already for the Woodland Community College graduation, Lower Lake High School graduation, and so on and so forth. The applause always helps to motivate people to continue in their life endeavors. Please be there whether or not you have somebody significant that will be graduating this year. It's nice to have the community come out and show their support. And I will end it with that. We will be going into closed session. We'll be coming back out for 7-7.
We'll talk.
Okay, we shall see. We will be going into closed session when we come back from our lunch at 1:30. 8.1, Public Employee Evaluation, title Public Health Officer. 8.2, Public Employee Appointment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, Interviews for Special Districts Administrator, Appointment of Special Districts Administrator. 8.3, Public Employee Appointment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, Interviews for Social Services Director, Appointment of Social Services Director. 8.4, Public Employee Appointment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, Interviews for Water Resources Director, Appointment of Water Resources Director. And with that, we will adjourn to our lunch, re-adjourn into our closed session. And if you want to hang on, we might also come out of closed session for item 7.7. Thank you.